when Russia was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. And they'd say, "Oh, but aren't you so glad that you're in America?" I said, "Well, I know a lot of Russian filmmakers. They have a lot more freedom than I have. All they have to do is be careful about criticizing the government."
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pop Life, a show where we take deep, more fun dives into different aspects of pop culture, movies, and of course, something I spent a long time doing, music. My good friend Conan Neutron and I will be doing something a little different when it comes to music review shows. We will be looking at an entire year's worth of music, not analyzing one specific genre or album, and asking the question, what is the greatest year of music? We've done a few of these so far. And also at the maybe about an hour in, we're going to open up the phone lines and hear what you guys have to say. Now, let me bring in my good friend and partner in this endeavor. Please welcome the one, the only Conan Neutron.
Undefeated. Yeah, man. This is 82 is the big one. Lots of game changers here, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty notable how many things were in flux. You know, disco on its way out. Two of the seminal new wave British heavy metal records coming out the same year.
Yeah.
The rise of post-punk. You know, the Clash as an operating entity is, around and making, arguably their biggest hit, like within combat rock. Diver Down, Van Halen. I mean, it's crazy. Like we could do an entire show just on any one of those things.
Something
easily.
People don't normally say about 1982. Janet and Michael Jackson have records that year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean,
hers was a flop. It was a massive commercial flop. Michael's, of course, one of the biggest selling records of all time.
Yeah, that one did a lot better. Can you imagine?
King of Pop. This is before the King of Pop moniker, of course. He's still kind of a guy existing in the black music world.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of more thought of as like the cute kid in the Jackson 5, which is crazy. But that's also someone that, grew up in showbiz and making records and so on and so on.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you that question before I read this intro monologue. Can you name another child celebrity that had that level of success for that long? I can't think of any.
Miley Cyrus.
No.
But it's not even close to the same level, but that's the only I can think of. Someone that was born, almost born into it, right?
Yeah. Well, how old was, that's a good point. How old
Hannah Montana was, I don't know.
Hannah Montana,
miss me with that. Like, yeah, it was not the target market, but she was pretty young when that started, right?
Was she a tween when she did that?
Probably.
I can't think of anybody. I was even thinking like actors. I was like, I can't think of a child actor.
Ooh, Hannah Montana rated 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. A lot of haters out there for that.
Yeah, my daughter loved Hannah Montana. She had a Hannah Montana themed birthday party when she turned like 11. So,
yeah, I mean that's the only thing I think of, and does that really count? Because that was a character, right? So sort of like it wasn't like this is someone who's a pop star that has been a pop star since they were a child, and that's been like this through line through all of it, and like, oh, now they went solo and so on and so on.
Stevie Wonder?
I don't know. Little Stevie, sure. Yeah, but that's fascinating because Stevie Wonder, when he came up, it was kind of sea change in music and what it meant. Like it was less It was less like, why are you putting this kid on tour, man? Like there was less of that kind of critical thinking, you know. But then also like, oh man, he's a badass. There's not many examples. There's
I can't think of
What-
any in any genre of entertainment where there's a young child actor or singer or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them that
and they maintain a consistency of notoriety and creativity and so on and so on. Yeah.
maybe become bigger as an adult than they were as a kid, and that says a lot because he does his own cartoon as a kid.
Right, that's right. I forgot about that. You know, I actually listened to. I wasn't even thinking about it in terms of this show, but I went back to one of the 1001 Album Complaints older episodes where they did Thriller, and I was like, oh, I'd be interested in seeing what these, as a friend of mine called them, baffling squares, have to think about this record.
Uh-huh.
And it was really interesting because I was like, you know, people think of, well, when they're thinking of the goofier stuff, they're thinking of The Girl Is Mine, which is one of the all-time, like, oh no, somebody should have stopped you from doing this. Like, obviously it was a hit, but
Mhm.
like, good lord, it's like have you listened to that lately? Anyway, but the huge hits, like one of like the hugest hits of like all time, like one of the all-time great music videos of all time. Too, right?
Thriller?
I mean,
yeah, I thought
it's like a
Billie
short
Jean is
film.
badass. I still
Well, Billie
think Billie Jean is badass.
Billie Jean's my favorite Michael Jackson
Beat
song.
It is badass.
Yeah.
The
Beat
dance
It's great.
fight, Beat It. Those are the only 3 videos from that, right?
I mean, it's a Thriller.
A Thriller's a movie.
Yeah,
I remember
that's a
MTV
film. If you have
yeah,
Vincent Price in your film and there's like a narrative to it, it's a freaking movie. Yeah,
John
yeah,
Landis directed it. That was a game changer for a new channel in MTV. Well, let's get into this.
So
Welcome
some
to
folks getting mad at me for talking trash on Girl Is Mine. Sorry, that song blows. My bad.
I mean,
but
look, hey,
it's not to my it's not to my sensibilities. Let's
taste
leave it
is
that way.
subjective. I don't mind the song. I've never been a big Beatles fan, so Paul McCartney's voice in general is not something that I run to. So,
Well, that's not exactly the best era of Paul McCartney either. But anyway, whatever.
say. I think it's a great song.
I mean,
It comes out the same year. It comes out in '82.
what's when does Paul McCartney when coming up? When year is that?
I
Is
believe
that,
that's this year.
That
He
song
releases
rocks.
I believe he released a record this year. But let me get into this monologue real quick. Welcome to today's episode where we journey back to the year 1982, a pivotal year in music history. This was a time when genres were in flux, new sounds were emerging, and the music industry was undergoing significant transformations. We'll explore the coming into disco, the rise of heavy metal and hip hop, and some fascinating developments in Japanese music. We'll also examine the political climate of the time, the impact of MTV and music videos, and the exclusion of artists of color from this new visual medium. By 1982, the disco craze had dominated the late 70s. It was waning. Backlash against disco, epitomized by events like the infamous Disco Demolition Night in 1979, had taken its toll. While disco's influence lingered in pop and dance music, it was clear that the genre's heyday was over. Artists who had ridden the disco wave began to either evolve their sound or fade from the spotlight. Heavy metal was on the ascent, with bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Ozzy Osbourne leading the charge. The genre's aggressive sound and rebellious spirit resonated with a generation looking for something more intense than what mainstream rock offered. Metal's rise was a part of a broader movement towards harder, more complex music, also included punk and hard rock. Hip-hop was beginning to gain traction while still primarily an underground movement. 1982 saw the release of seminal tracks that would lay the groundwork for the genre's explosion in the mid-80s. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message, was a groundbreaking track that highlighted the social issues facing inner-city communities, proving that hip-hop was a powerful new voice in music. In Japan, the music scene was vibrant and innovative. Artists like Yellow Magic Orchestra were blending electronic music with pop, creating sounds that were ahead of their time. Meanwhile, something I discovered in making this playlist, city pop, a genre that combined jazz, funk, and R&B, was becoming popular. Japanese musicians were not only pushing the boundaries of traditional genres, but also influencing global music trends. The early 80s were marked by significant political and social changes in the United States. President Ronald Reagan's administration was characterized by conservative policies, economic changes, and a strong stance against the Soviet Union. The Cold War was still a dominant force in global politics, affecting cultural and artistic expressions around the world. Economic policies were shifting towards deregulation and tax cuts, which had mixed impacts on different segments of society. In the UK, Margaret Thatcher's government was implementing neoliberal economic policies, leading to significant social and economic changes. These policies sparked resistance and protests from various groups, including labor unions and youth movements, which were often reflected in the music of the time. MTV launched in August, that's the year I was born, 1981, the month I was born in 77, revolutionizing the music industry by making music videos as a crucial part of an artist's success. The visual aspect of music became as important as the sound, changing how artists promote their music and connecting with fans. Videos like Michael Jackson's Billie Jean and Duran Duran's Hungry Like the Wolf became iconic, setting new standards for production and creativity. However, MTV faced criticism for its lack of diversity. Early on, the network primarily featured white rock artists, excluding many artists of color, primarily in genres like R&B and hip-hop. This exclusion was symptomatic of broader racial biases in the music industry. It wasn't until Michael Jackson's breakthrough that MTV began more regularly featuring Black artists, a shift largely driven by the massive popularity of the undeniable talent of Michael Jackson. 82 was a transformative year in the music, marked by the decline of disco, the rise of heavy metal and hip-hop, and innovative contributions from Japanese artists. So, that being said,
so I got an addendum to that because, and this is, you're not going to get every genre, right? But this was an absolutely groundbreaking year for punk as well. You had Descendants, Milo Goes to College, Fear the Record, Flipper, Generic Flipper, Mission of Burma, Versus, Bad Brains, the self-titled Bad Brains, Junkyard by the Birthday Party, Plastic Surgery Disasters, Dead Kennedys, Born Innocent, Red Cross, Everything Went Black, Black Flag. I mean, not even getting into new wave stuff, you know, like the name of the band is Talking Heads, which is not their biggest record, but it is absolutely a rock solid year for punk rock as well. And so I think it's easy to get lost in that when you think about the larger cultural cachet nice of heavy metal and you know, the just the cultural dominance of disco that's just on its way out for, you know, what I'm sure we'll discuss is, you know, largely like racist and homophobic reasons. But you know, you also have, you know, Landmark Records by The Damned. You have X Under the Big Black Sun. You have The Cure, Pornography. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening in the underground as well. So it's momentous on almost every genre of music that we cover on this show. It's pretty remarkable. Like, any one of those, like, even if it was just Generic Flipper or just Junkyard by Birthday Party or just Milo Goes to College by Descendants, who unfortunately most of what the Descendants wrought, I do not care for at all. But that is no one will argue because they more or less, them and the Buzzcocks are kind of to blame for pop punk, you know, and that's a rough thing to hang on someone. but Milo Goes to College, even so, I know people that are like, pop punk is the worst thing in the world, is a pox on humanity, and they listen, oh, but Milo Goes to College fucks. That's a great record. Yes, of course it is, because it's objectively a great record. And a lot of what made that a great record is because it's Descendants, not because they were, you know, trying to take the danger out of it. It does sound like dangerous music done by, again, going to use the term I used for the 1001 album complaints guys, baffling squares, which is one of the reasons why it was so punk rock, because it wasn't like they were cool guys, you know? But anyway, we're not talking about specifically Milo Goes to College. I just want to like shout out specifically what a fantastic year, because I was just looking at like, I wonder what punk rock records came out that year. My man, Bad Brains. Self-titled Bad Brains record. Jesus Christ, that was like a grenade in the room for punk rock, you know?
If you look at the thumbnail for the show, I actually created it.
Oh, I know, it's in the playlist. It's in the thumbnail.
Those are all the albums that I wanted to show,
but it wasn't in the intro, and that's why I was choosing to bring it up, because there's so much pounding stuff to keep track of with this, you know. So getting back to, I mean, we might as well start with Thriller, because I think some of the more interesting facts that about the arrangements for that record is Michael, who was very forward thinking and knew what his strengths were, had them change the arrangements for certain parts to be longer. So he's like, no, I want that to be longer so I can dance.
Did
Like,
you
he
ever
knew.
hear the demos to some of that stuff? It's him going.
Yeah. And yeah, he's like humming it out. He's doing the thing. Bjornford does the same thing. He'll like he's not a musician, but he has the music in his head, and like he has to get it out and to translate it for the musicians. But I just want to reiterate, I think it's how funny that like some of those arrangements are like longer because he knew visually in the videos that like he's going to be doing cool dancing, and that's like one of the things in his toolbox that is he's really good at that's going to make this work. Like, how forward thinking is that? Because think about the moonwalk.
Yes.
Right? I mean, one of the you can't argue, like, as great as the record is and as great as Michael Jackson's, good lord, if that was like, can you think of another dance like from our generation that
cultural
like,
moment? Can we talk
Yeah.
about cultural moments? The Motown 50-year anniversary, was it 50 year or 30 year? 80, it's 84 they do that. But that moment where he does the moonwalk, and mind you, we had seen it before on Soul Train.
sure,
When the dude from Shalimar did it. That's who
right,
showed Michael Jackson
absolutely,
move.
yeah,
But that's fine. That's Soul Train. You know, not as many people are watching it, and it wasn't Michael Jackson doing the move. I get that. My point is, there's these cultural moments that we forget because we don't really have them anymore, right? You always talk about the lack of
Right.
monoculture.
Mhm.
And I don't know anyone, and granted, I'm from Richmond, California. You're from the Central Valley. We're from about, what do you say, about 150 miles apart, at least?
It's about
Maybe
right, yeah.
about 100 miles apart.
Maybe 100.
The next day at school, what was everybody talking about?
Everybody's
Right?
like, whoa, did you see that? You know, like everybody. And so if you pair that and
Mhm.
that kind of cultural cachet to reach people with fantastic music as well, and someone who's a born performer, like
Yes.
born into it, right? Like as we were discussing earlier, that like it was inescapable. And like how could that not be a hit? How could that not be a hit? And but I also just want to reiterate how smart it is for Michael Jackson to like know, hey, I need that to be longer. What? Why? Because I'm going to be doing like this other thing that is going to like blow people's minds. Like he knew somehow, like he knew that would connect. Did he know it was going to be the biggest thing in the world? I don't know. Maybe he's a weird dude, but I just find that so fantastic. And just the idea of like pushing the idea of what a music video can be. Again, getting Vincent Price and like basically make it a little horror movie that look, to this day, for the longest time, so if you're in a conversation about zombies, at some point people are gonna go like, you know, do the thing. You know, they're gonna do the thing with Thriller every goddamn time. I do the same thing. It's so iconic, and you're like, yo, there are synchronized zombies like doing like a cool dance, like amazing.
And that video scared me as a little kid.
Oh, it was, and you look at
we were
it,
like
some
6.
goofball stuff, but it is
Yeah.
terrifying when you saw that as a kid.
When Michael Jackson turns around with the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
man, that was
terrified.
yeah.
I was
That
terrified.
was, which is wild to think about now. But again, when talking about those monocultural, cultural cachet moments, it's the reason why it's like just became this like timeless one of. I mean, that's one of the biggest records in the ever selling records ever, right? If I remember right.
Yes. Yes. It was. What's interesting to me about that, and you know, we can get on to more records, is if you
70 million copies. 70 million copies.
Is that just
worldwide.
domestically? That's just domestically.
Worldwide.
Okay.
So it's the best selling album of all time.
That record, when you listen to it, is this record where they're pushing certain boundaries. So you're going to get the new R&B, which is a slightly slower disco, right?
Yeah,
it's a very danceable record.
Yeah,
but it's also a very rocking record. And I'm not just talking about Eddie Van Halen solo.
Dude, Beat It is a rock song, straight up. It's a good one too. You know,
the strategic nature of Michael and Quincy to be able to say, how do we make this song rock enough that we can get on multiple radio stations with this?
It's amazing.
Again, go listen to Off the Wall. A lot of people go, I love Off the Wall more because there is no rock elements to Off the Wall.
Yeah,
it's a very good R&B, again, end of disco record. Go put on Thriller. Thriller itself is a rocking song, but that bass line makes you want to dance on Thriller.
Yeah, it's doing both,
right?
Yeah.
But when you listen to a song like Beat It, and then you find out that basically Toto was the backing band
Right.
for a lot of this.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But that's why I don't like people that are like, oh, these studio musicians. I've never really liked all that talk, because it's like, look, man, these guys are really good at what they do, and they made a masterpiece of a record. So why are you shitting on this masterpiece?
Yeah, man. I would. By the way, I would do that in a heartbeat. Like I'm down. But just the caveat is that I do my thing, and that's certainly not what Toto does. And I think you have to be a little bit more of a chameleon than I am to really be an effective Wrecking Crew style studio musician.
I don't know if you ever watch.
I'm a great arranger,
Steve
though. By the way,
I don't know if you ever watched Steve Lukather's interview he did with Rick Beato.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an interesting interview because he was there for like the Asia sessions with Steely Dan.
Yeah.
And he's also a big part of, he is playing the rhythm. Eddie only played the lead. That's why Eddie says, I came in at 15 minutes. It's like a one take thing, and he left.
He doesn't even freaking like
bring
where and where he comes in is like the weirdest. And apparently there's like some thumping sound that was like someone like knocking on the booth to be like, hey, go, it's time. Let's go, man. And so like that's why, like, if you actually listen to it like as a musician or like microanalyze it, he kind of comes in, he kind of drags, and then he comes in, and it just sounds like he's just doing a cool aesthetic choice. But yeah, I guess he was just like, what now? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, like I think it's like one or two takes, right? There's like no punching in. But it's Lukather that's changing the song. Him and Michael are playing it because, like you said, originally it didn't have a certain. It's Beat It is. I think it was a little faster.
Yeah,
and they slow it down a little bit because it's more metal. And Quincy's telling Lukather, like, look, dude, this is too hard.
It's going too far. Right.
You're going too far with this.
But he's right, because it appeals to it's a song that, like, if you're a hard rocker, like, yeah, that one's good, like, but it doesn't go so far that it's gonna lose the groove, right?
That's the song. That's the album for me that I find out who Van Halen is, and I become a Van Halen.
Which is crazy, because what comes out this year? Diver Down. Which is,
what song did I use from Diver Down? I don't remember. Let's do this fun thing that I love doing with you, which is share the playlist, because you have insights on some of these that I don't have.
Sure.
I'll make it bigger. Shut up.
Write your own jokes.
So I started off with Human Nature. I didn't know which Michael Jackson song, but that's one of those songs where I think there's no bass line in that song.
You might be right. Yeah. No, I mean, that one's good. It's to me, it reminds me of the mix that I made of, and we talked about this when we did whatever year that was.
79.
No, for Soundgarden. The Super Unknown. Like, it's so long, they put so many songs on it, but they're all so great. 94 that I made a mix that's like No Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, and it's still a killer record. Every song, like, it's like, God damn, this is so good. So like you told me the same thing with Thriller. Thriller's not as long as Super Unknown. Let's be clear, that's a 80s record versus 90s record. But like, I forget, like, Human Nature is not a song that the first one I think of, but I like that's on here because, of course, man, like, Beat It and Thriller are like in people's DNA. They're just in the zeitgeist.
Yes.
They're like, people don't even know anything about. You could go to someone in like Malaysia in like a rice field, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Michael Jackson." Beat It.
My kid knows Michael Jackson, right? He's been dead longer than my kid's been alive.
Exactly.
And then we go The Cure, pornography,
which, again, The Cure is a niche band for as far as monoculture goes. But if you're talking about the stuff that has cachet within the world of independent music and punk rock, post-punk, etc., goth, this is where The Cure starts to make that turn, right? Because you have these songs that are like, when I was making Dark Passengers, I used Pornography, the record, let's not take it out of context, folks, as a template for like, hey, these songs are going to take as long as they need to do what they need. because 100 years on that song, right? On that album. Look at the runtime, 6 minutes 41 seconds.
Yeah,
That's the opening track, folks. That's the opening. And
there is a difference with these 80s records, because I think the last year we did was 94, right? And before we did 94 was 67. And what's interesting to me about 67 is the album format is album as artwork, right? So it's taking artists 3 or 4 songs to get into something that might move a little bit more, because they can be so experimental.
Yes.
And in 82, we have a format. We need to get into the hook after 16 bars.
Right. Don't bore us, get to the chorus, right?
There's definitely, you can feel the formats, right? You can definitely feel it with a lot of this music that I was finding. So when there's a few artists that were still being experimental, which I found interesting, which this new video element really plays into, because you can be a little bit more experimental because you have the element of video instead of you're sitting in your car, you're waiting for the hook to come in.
Well, and just getting back to the Cure real quick, that's one of the reasons why they became so influential, because like, I mean, if you look at just Robert Smith's look, right? Where it's like, oh man, like that is the artsy kid for sure. And by the way, a lot of this is for the Cure is complete pushback towards the records before, like not Faith or 17 Seconds, but like Boys Don't Cry. The producer of that record just took it, like, put his own vision on it so much that Robert Smith basically said that will never happen again. And for my money, like, Pornography is like one of the perfect culminations of that. And at the time, people were like, well, it's impenetrable, right? And they were comparing it to like Low by David Bowie, or like Berlin, Lou Reed, where it's just like, it's like, oh, this might take some distance to appreciate. Yes, that's exactly what it's going to take, because there's no hits of any kind on Pornography, but it also shows up on all these lists when people are like, oh man, Pornography by The Cure, though. Oh man, that's it. Because what it does, and people didn't realize this at the time, is it was rock music coming from more or less a punk world, right? That did mood. It is gloomy AF. I'm sitting around here, I am bummed out. let's throw on The Cure, and that cemented them as that gothic rock thing, right? Whether they like it or not, or whether it's fair or not, doesn't matter. Like, again, what hast thou wrought, The Cure? But Pornography is this astounding record that does exactly what it's meant to do.
Then we have Kate Bush. There Goes a Tenor from the Dreaming record. I'm sure no one under 30 knows that song. Right? And I'm sure there's a bunch of people over 30 that have no idea that this record exists.
It's crazy to me that Kate Bush, at least one Kate Bush song, reached monoculture heights because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. That's cool. Kind of gives one hope, right?
It only takes 50 years. It only takes 50 years.
Yeah. At least he was still around. At least he's still alive to see it. Because like Running Up the Hill, like entered the Billboard Top 100. Kate Bush.
From Spotify spins.
Yeah, man. Because people are just like, whoa, what is that song? Because it's used so deftly and adroitly in that show. And it's so important, and so if you pair that with the fact that people are like, whoa, that song's wild good, what is that? Who is that? That's
and I gave it to him. I gave him Kate Bush, and they said, what?
What? What? Oh, what is this?
What is this nonsense? Number of the Beast, which is one of my favorite Maiden records. Somewhere in Time actually is my favorite Maiden record.
Okay.
Wasted Years is my favorite Maiden song. But Run to the Hills. I love Run to the Hills.
Run to the hills.
These British people singing about U.S. westward expansion.
And then there's a because everything is like, like you can just envision like dudes on horses, like, oh man, they're going, because it's got that galloping sort of thing for it. That actually might have been the first Maiden song that was like, oh yeah, this is pretty rad.
I think this is the first year. Let me double check this. I think this is the first year with Dickinson.
Maybe.
I think this is his first record with Iron
Was it-
Maiden. If I'm wrong, I'm
before,
wrong.
before that was
81.
Paul Di'Anno, right?
Yep, he joined in 81. So yeah, I think this is the first record with Dickinson on it, right?
Yeah. It's Killers was the last one with Paul Di'Anno. Oh, cool.
And I like Killers.
If pressed in a trivia situation, that's what I would have said, but it's good to be validated.
But this record and what they're able to do musically with Bruce Dickinson and to be able to have that kind of operatic vocal, the soar over the top. This is the groundwork, right, for what we're going to get with metal. That's going to be. This is just my opinion.
You're right. No, you're 100% right, because not only do you have a man who's like singing like that and it's theatrical and he's dashing around the stage, he looks cool. This guy sword fights. He like flies planes. He's like what is this? He's like a superhero. This guy like Batman or something.
He
what
is the rock star.
Yeah,
for a genre that is still in the underground. And if we look at the quote unquote new wave of British heavy metal, beyond just the names that are really, really big, like Maiden and Priest, and you go to like the Saxons and the Angels of Pantang and some of the other guys from that same scene. What's interesting to me is even if you go to early Judas Priest, it sounds like a take on Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's their version of like hard rock, right?
Yeah, it's like really,
absolutely.
really bluesy. You could see they're trying to do their own maybe Zeppelin Sabbathy thing.
Yeah,
I never got that with Maiden, even in the earlier stuff.
Love them or loathe them, they just have their own compass and do their own thing. And by the way, if I can just sidebar, for people that are maybe find Iron Maiden deeply inscrutable or maybe not to their sensibilities, I highly recommend watching the documentary called Flight 666. Which is amazing because it's a concert documentary film about them flying all around the world and playing to their fans in these remote locations. And the plane is flown by the singer Bruce Dickinson. Right? So if you're not like, wow, that sounds kind of cool. Like, and you get such a cool window into like what kind of guys these guys are and what their relationship is to these people and how much this music means to those folks. And honestly, it kind of turned me around of like, you know what? Maybe I've like not been like giving Iron Maiden like enough credit. And I will say in the new wave of British heavy metal shootout, I'm always a Priest guy. Sorry, but like I found so much respect.
Screaming
for Iron
Vengeance is a great freaking record, and you can't deny, you know, if someone bestowed upon me tomorrow a budget. And they said, Jason, you have a budget of X amount of dollars to do what you want to do. And I said, well, can you fly my friend Conan and Tony out and we do a video cover of You Got Another Thing Coming?
Hell yeah. I'm in.
Or Breaking the Law or Breaking the Law.
Yeah.
And that's how the show could start off. We're like, we're going to talk about 1982. Breaking the Law, breaking.
You Got Another Thing Coming?
Or You Got Another
Thing Coming.
Yeah, if we could
You
do
don't
that.
know what it's like.
When we go record at Koshi's, one like 2 takes. We're like, we're gonna figure it out in 2 takes.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, that's what I would do if we had that kind of budget.
There I was completely wasted, out of work and down.
Right?
Have you ever seen? By the way, all right. I know people go, why they spend so much time on Judas Priest. If you ever see the video for Breaking the Law,
I love the video for Breaking the Law.
The video is so great. I started years and years. This is way before social media as we know it now. I did like a scene by scene breakdown of that video because like I need to know who directed this and the choices that were made, because there's so much. That song is not that long. And there's so much stuff that happens in that video, and it's just like and the series, like it was too much work and like it was pretty esoteric, but like it's worth watching again, even if you don't like Priest, which okay, it's worth watching. Electric Eye is on Screaming for Vengeance.
I almost did. I put Electric Eye on here? I think I did.
I don't remember what
I believe I did put Electric Eye on there. But Lady Cab Driver by Prince from 1999. You know, we know the hits from 1999.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that that's the one you put on. Yeah.
I think we forget, because I suffer from coding disease a little bit, where it's like, come on, we've heard some of these songs too many times.
Yeah, we heard
I
it.
did. Look, this so far is the longest one we've done. I want to scroll up so you guys can see this. 172 songs.
Damn.
172, and it's just one song per release.
Right. Right, exactly. And look, some of them are like, Cure Pornography. It's a long ass song, but most of them are not,
No, but Lady Cab Driver is, I think it's the longest song on the record, but a great Prince song. Prince for me with 1999. This is where the MTV, we're gonna.
What were the hits? It was 1999, Little Red Corvette, right?
Those are the two videos.
Those are the two videos.
And okay, so when we think about MTV, this is where, to me, the Rick James stuff and MTV get real interesting, because Rick James, besides his legendary cocaine problem, as other folks would say, is an N-word through and through, and his spat he had with the label over not getting on MTV and having Prince get on over him,
right,
is an interesting spat, because he is making videos. Both of the video, if you look at the videos for the early Prince stuff and you look at the videos for the early Rick James stuff, they're extremely low budget. They're not
Super Freak is like, it looks like he's just like in a warehouse.
He's just in a warehouse with some chicks.
Like, what is happening? There's just a camera and he's just running around. Okay. Like,
it's just a warehouse and him and some chicks, and he's like,
what is this?
Totally gonna bang.
Yeah.
He's
well,
that's
assumed.
Blow off everybody's ass. But he didn't get the MTV airplay.
Yeah, I think that's like the year before Super Freak, right? Like
Yeah.
that's is like 81. Yeah,
and he was furious about that. And Prince kind of gets some MTV airplay, and they're like, look, if we're gonna put one black rock guy on, we're gonna get the young guy.
Yeah, well, of course, that's ain't nothing.
Even though he got kicked, remember Prince gets kicked off the Rolling Stones tour, and that's why Rick James is like, oh shit, who is this cat?
Yeah.
He kicked off the tour with the Stones. Like, how bad is this dude?
Yeah.
Of course, they're legendary. They don't get along. It becomes a pissing contest, which is sad, because I think those are some amazing musicians, right? Rick James, incredible.
Yeah. I mean, people remember him like holding women hostage and the all the drug stuff, but like, god damn, he made some amazing music too.
Before he was burning people with crack pipes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like Sly Stone is sort of like.
You want to hear something? I don't know if you ever watched the behind the or the tour bus, Tales from the Tour Bus thing.
Love that show. The Mike Judge, the cartoon show. So good.
So sad when they said they saw Sly Stone and said we could never get this bad, and sadly Rick James does, of course.
Yeah,
get that bad, if not worse. Maybe not knowing who he is, but he serves real deal prison time. Because of his drug addiction. But Prince becomes an MTV darling, and it is because of 1999 and MTV making him the black rock guy that Prince can do what he does with Purple Rain that we talked about in the 1984 show, which is have the #1 album and #1 film. I don't know if we'll ever see that again, because who can do that?
No, absolutely. Well, and to his credit, Rick James does end up on MTV eventually when Eddie Murphy does that part in that video. He's like just like lurking, and he's like, yeah, coked out of his mind. He's like, hell yeah,
he's in it.
Sadly,
that's not the Rick James I wish that would have been put on MTV, because there is a lot of racism in that, because it's like, look, we're gonna go with the younger guy because we're all about youth. It's like, no, you guys played some old fucking white people too. I saw Foreigner on here. Right? REO Speedwagon got their due. Kiss got to take their makeup off on MTV. They weren't spring chickens.
Yeah. It's that's a whole separate show.
But MTV, I think, is a major factor in some of these records, why they may resonate with some people more or less. Cure doesn't have a video off pornography, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't know any videos off pornography.
They probably would have run out of film. The songs are too long. Thank you.
Another band that doesn't have videos, but is and maybe one of the more important bands in my personal life, is Bad Brains.
Absolutely.
There's two bands that I put on my Mount Rushmore of the greatest live acts that I never got to see in their prime, and that's Fishbone and the Bad Brains.
Oh, you never saw Fishbone? Really?
In their prime.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, they were great. I mean, in that way that, like, it really is a had to be there moment. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the records are cool. It's cool, but dude, that band smoked live.
Oh,
Like,
we could do a whole episode.
nobody wanted to go after Fishbone.
No.
Well, it's like on the level of like Lung, right? Lung is an amazing freaking band, and touring with them, it's like, a lot of times we'll trade off who plays first, who plays second, and like when they play first, it's like, God damn, man, we gotta follow that, Jesus Christ, because it's so perfectly them in that same way that Fishbone is. But yeah, Bad Brains is, and I'm not like a hardcore guy, but this is on the Mount Rushmore of hardcore. Like, there's arguably, as Minor Threat as we know it would not exist without Bad Brains, as would like many bands. Like, there is, and again, this is another thing where I'm sure like all the listeners are not going to be as into it maybe as I am, but like, you got to give it up for Bad Brains, and especially a band in DC, which is, it's more or less like a compilation of a bunch of like 7 inches and things like that, because they were a band that was like so busy being a band that they weren't super worried about like making records. But oh my God, like, just like listen to like Eye Against Eye or Pay to Come or whatever. And by the way, all black guys. That's the other thing that like people forget about. People like real busy talking about Death from Detroit. Cool. But like Bad Brains were like, they were in it right there. Now, I don't want to get into Bad Brains politics. Ain't looking for it. Not interested in it.
Yeah.
But
we're just talking about the music.
When you're talking about just like, I don't give a single fuck,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna do what we do as hard as we can, man, it's really hard to not at least give some respect on the name for Bad Brains, because it is incendiary. Again, it's another like boom, psh, drop the grenade.
You know what? 1982. Go watch. It's on YouTube. Go watch Bad Brains 1982 at CBGB's.
Yeah,
You'll understand.
It's still today is like, damn. Like, so I can only
look
imagine.
Look at the people, the people moshing in the crowd.
Yeah.
All the bands that you see.
Oh yeah. It's all these people that are like wild, successful bands that are just like sitting there being like, God damn, they're it's them. Like, they're the best of us,
I was having to talk with a friend last night, and I was talking about shows or artists that I've seen that have blown my mind, because I'm not trying to be the coolest thing in the world, and I can just dig when someone's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And watching all those other bands that were in bands at the time, it wasn't like they were just, oh, we're going to get a band now because we saw Bad Brains. They were also doing their thing at the same time, but you had to give it up to somebody so good. There is something about watching a live performance, especially at a small club like CBGB's. I don't know if people know how little that place was.
Not big. Yeah.
And just being blown away by somebody, and
it's even if you're not right, you're not even necessarily sounding like it, right? Like Beastie Boys, they definitely had their early hardcore days. Cool. But Beastie Boys, huge into Bad Brains. Rage Against the Machine. If you like Rage Against the Machine, you better send a thank you postcard to Bad Brains, because there would be no such animal. Deftones.
Yes.
I think Guns N' Roses were big Bad Brains fans. Like so many bands that like don't even necessarily sound like it's like Void or something, where it's like, oh yeah, the best way you can be influenced by this band is not sound like them, because they're so comfortable with themselves. When they went like, and they would do like the most just audacious hardcore song ever, like 45 seconds. Yo, here's a reggae song.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Are you kidding? Say what? And like, pretty good. Like, it does the thing well. It's like,
sadly, when they made that reggae turn full time,
when they went full reggae, we don't speak of that, but not for me. Good for them, not for me.
But yeah, the Bad Brains again on this wall of records Some I put on there in the tongue-in-cheek fashion, like Janet's first record. I do like her single, but these are albums I like. But
and not enough leftists listen to Fugazi, frankly. But there is no Fugazi without Bad Brains. I mean, Fugazi is like the best band that like is more or less lost to history for a lot of people. And one of the reasons why is because they never, ever, any time like engage with commercial properties. So it was all word of mouth. It was all like, the legend of Fugazi.
Can you do that in 2024?
I do not. I don't think you can. Here's the caveat for how Fugazi could do that back then is that Ian MacKaye it's a dude from Minor Threat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rites of Spring, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. No, it was like, I want to hear the dude from Minor Threat's new band. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh, this is different. But Fugazi is a band that, and those dudes still play together, like privately. And I'm lucky enough that they do it for them, you know. Yeah. And if they decided to be a band in any way, shape, or form, at whatever limited capacity it would culturally shake the world, because it's something that, like, the kids need to see that. But they don't need to see it in the documentary. Instrument's a great documentary. You should watch it. They would need to see it, but I don't think they're going to. I don't know. They could. They could. They're all very busy. I mean, Brendan and Joe are doing Mesthetics. Mesthetics jam. It's really good. Ian has Evans and Karicki also with Joe. Guy's very busy. Like, there has never been a band like Fugazi, because they eschewed all monoculture commercial enterprises, which is easier to do now. They did it when it was like impossible, and they managed to do it. And I hate to say it, not because they were great, but because Ian MacKaye had the notoriety of being the guy from Minor Threat. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying that, like, it's real easy for Ian MacKaye to talk about, oh, well, you just do this, you just do that. But yeah, man, because everyone like is ready to buy whatever the hell you put out. It's like, I had the same complaint with Steve Albini. Well, you can just do this and this. Well, yeah, but if Joe Nobody did that, ain't nobody gonna buy it because they don't care.
Yeah, there's almost like an absence of context when sometimes you hear some of that shit come out of their mouth. But again, I've never been a person, I can't speak for you, where everything you say becomes kind of gospel that never gets pushed back on.
Or if there is pushback, it's like there's like a wildfire type of pushback, like when there was like some dude just dug up like Guilty of Being White, took it out of the context of what it was, and tried to make it out that like Ian MacKaye was mad racist. I was like, okay. So some songs that, this song that he wrote when he was 17 about this very specific thing in his scene that was done like satirically has not held up to as a modern construct for 2024. Well, nobody was thinking about like, oh, we're making this record that, 40 years later, someone's going to microanalyze, like, and that's rough. That's a separate podcast as well. And Ayatollah of Rock and Roll. Yeah. The James Brandon Lewis, the sax player, dude. By the way, they're on a jazz label now, and that record cooks. And I put it on for like in the van, and just now people always be like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's Mesthetics. Like, this is two of the dudes from Fugazi and like this shredder guitar player Anthony Parag. And then I'll not lie, I didn't know James Brandon Lewis from Moses, but that man, really great saxophonist. And him and Anthony do this like stuff where like he's going and like they're like locked in on like unison notes and stuff. Oh, it's amazing. Anyway, whatever. Listen to that Mesthetics James Brandon Lewis record, because they were good. They were good before, but they're on that next level stuff right now. Unfortunately, they're playing only with like jazz and improv bands now. So because I was like, man, let's play together again. I know Joe Lolly's sleep number. He stayed in my house.
Sleep number. I love the fact you have a sleep number bed for guests. That's a sign of success.
We used to.
Nazi Punk's F Off.
Yes, one of the great punk rock. Just here's what it is. This is what we're saying in this song, which is unfortunately still too relevant. I think when we went on tour in 2016, 2016, AT made Nazi Trump's fuck off stickers.
Did they?
We actually got the first stack of them before they even like put them on the website or anything. And I was like, oh, let's put these out on the merch table. And they were gone in 2 shows.
I could see that. Everything was biting Trump in 2016, even to
yeah, okay. But this was before. Yeah, okay. But this was before any of that. This was like days after the election. Like it was already like.
Oh, dude, I was at fucking one of those music festivals, and they had made Stagecoach.
Mhm.
Stagecoach made hats, made Stagecoach great again. I was like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the Nazi Trump's fuck off is, I mean, that's unfortunately a timeless song. It's a came with the armband, right?
Mhm.
They had like the Nazi sign with like the no, like Ghostbusters no through it. I'm a big Dead Kennedys fan. It sucks that most people think of the lawsuits rather than the music these days.
Now,
Yeah, but
who sings for the Dead Kennedys?
well, it was. I think it's Skip from Winona Riders, but it was Brandon Cruz from Courtship of Eddie's Father and Dr. No for a while.
Oh,
But-
that's who was singing.
Yeah, but it's.
Isn't it?
I believe it's Skip from the Winona Riders, who I like. I like the Winona Riders, but
Because they still tour. I mean, rest in peace.
I know they do. I know that they do because I was actually going to have Ray and Klaus on Protonic Reversal, and it was the week that DH Peligro died.
Mm.
And I just never picked that up because I've had a standing invite for Jello to be on for years. I know that dude. Anytime, man. And I don't even really like doing podcasts. Okay, whatever, man.
Why does your impersonation have to be so right on? Why does it have to be so fucking right on?
I love him to death, but he can be a deeply frustrating individual as well. And I'm like, just come on the fucking show, dude. Like
I'm
seriously.
just mad your impersonation is just so right on.
Anyway, Dead Kennedys rock. Is Big Black on here? By the way, everyone is like, there's like a Big Black conversation because we mentioned.
Look,
Steve Aoki.
hey, you know what, people? On the description of the show, before I even write a word, is the link to the playlist. If you want to know what's on the playlist, you can
Right.
see for yourself.
I know.
We are all a nation. Look, everyone watching this show is an adult. There's
Yeah,
no.
it's easier
toddlers
just to ask us.
watching. Jesus. How many times have we done this thing? It's like, you guys.
You
There's
forgot
no-
this. You forgot
No,
that.
no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
The Lungs EP comes out in 82, December 82. That's the one where he's still doing everything himself. Steve Albini, I'm talking about.
Mhm.
But like, it's the first EP. It's not technically a record, but he starts off with, it's got like Dead Billy, like it's got Steelworker, which is like,
I mean,
First time you hear-
I didn't want to skip all the way down because there's 172 effing
I'm
songs.
only bringing it up now because it was Steve Albini was invoked by myself. But like ultimately, you don't get a Ministry post like their Depeche Mode era without Big Black. And I think Big Black is, again, another thing because largely eschewing commercial entities, like they don't get talked about except for amongst music nerds. But the Lungs EP is pretty great. Like, did they get better? Hell yeah, they got better. Like
Dead Billy is the song, and it's
Dead
track number 97.
Billy. Yeah, like when you hear that, it's like what is happening? What is this? What's happening? Like it's crazy. And then to the point that like at first you'll be like, what is this? And then you'll be like, oh man, this is what's up. And like there's a through line to that and Ministry, like I said, Godflesh. Like there's so many bands that like, oh, whether they know it or not, they owe so much to Big Black. So not even just like Steve Albini, because again, they're
Wait a minute. Time out. Dusty says no Big Black, no early Slint. Dusty, go look for yourself. We just told you it was track 97, so take it back. Take the comment back. Say, I'm sorry, I didn't look. Say I acted like a child and I wanted to pout and I didn't look. Say it. If you don't type it, I'm banning you. I'm banning you from the channel. Type it. Type it right now. You're not typing it right now.
But Nine Inch Nails, ever heard of them? Like, without Big Black, there's no Nine Inch Nails. There, like Atari Teenage Riot, some
Dusty
days
says I'm
today.
sick.
Man,
You
so
get
you,
those decrepit freaking fingers out there and you start typing.
I feel like you just armed response the comments. God damn.
Do the reading is
That'll learn 'em.
do the listening is the new do the reading. It looks like someone didn't do the listening.
Next up we got I mentioned Milo Goes to College
Yes.
at the intro.
I'm not a loser. Yes.
So God damn, what a record. First of all, there's a 15-year-old boy every year that will discover the descendants of Milo Goes to College. And it will change their world because they're not, they were nerds. They're not cool guys. They were not, they were not these like hardcore superheroes or anything along those lines. They're basically playing Beach Boys and Ramones style songs that like are about being like lovelorn and like awkward and not knowing your place in the world and so on and so on. But here's the deal, it's fantastic. Like, it's fantastic in a timeless way that they thought that the band was like, I guess that's it for this band. It's called Milo Goes to College because Milo was going to college. So which is crazy. And he ended up he did go to college and he's like a scientist or something. It was like a biochemist, something along those lines. But then they came back and they did other records, and those records are cool, but it's still to this day like one of the most notable records within punk rock, and certainly again, unfortunately, a direct through line to pop punk and what came after. But it's so much better by that
same line. Do you put Bad Religion in that same?
See, Bad Religion is certainly important and certainly worth mentioning. But Bad Religion has had so many lives as a band, and I would say for cultural cachet, was I Can't Believe It, the way that you look, some 21st century digital boy. That's their legacy, is that song, which is that's Against the Grain, which is 1990. But I mean, that band was doing the work for forever, and I know you probably mentioned, because it's nothing where the singer is like what, that guy's like a physicist or something, isn't he? Like
I saw them live in Oakland actually last year.
They're good. Greg Graffin he has a PhD in zoology.
There you
okay,
go.
all right.
Touring for fun, selling out 3,000 seat rooms for fun.
Yeah, John Russo, who engineered the Household Gods record, he goes on tour with them on crew. I forget what he does. I don't know if he does sound or what, but he tours with them, and I was like, I would see that. I would see Bad Religion. Fuck it, why not? But the first, 82, How Could Hell Be Any Worse? How Could Hell Be Any Worse comes out that year. And they're very much like a hardcore band, like a punk rock band, right? It's just like, they have, I think De La Rocha shouted out that record. And hearing it like when he was like young and 15 and kind of just being like, whoa, because there's all these I don't know if you know that record, but it's got like all these drawings from like Dante's Inferno and stuff in it. It's pretty wild looking, and it's this red washed out blurry shot of Los Angeles. Like, it looks pretty scary. You're like, whoa, what is this? Yeah, Bad Religion's good, man. Like, I do I listen to them? Not really, not that much, but endless respect.
But here's a band you do like, and I didn't put Rock the Casbah on this. I put Know Your Rights. Combat Rock by The Clash comes out in 82.
So I do love The Clash, and I think if I remember correctly, this is maybe the last Clash record that I do love. And also, is it my favorite one? Nah, not really. It's probably London Calling, right? Which is the, for different reasons. But Combat Rock is somehow... Sandinista is before this, and that's a triple album that should maybe be like half of like a regular album. It's a lot of junk on that record. And Cut the Crap is after this, which is just deeply unfortunate. But London Calling's amazing. Giving Up Rope is really good, and the self-titled record's amazing. Combat Rock, though, so Know Your Rights, crazy song. But way before I heard Gang of Four, that was the first time I heard like kind of this motoric, pseudo funky kind of like aggressive guitars going, and like a dude kind of like agitprop yelling about cool stuff over it that was sort of like, what does it mean? This is a public service announcement with guitar. And then like, you have a right not to be killed. Murder is a crime unless it's done by a policeman or an aristocrat. Dude, that's the opening salvo. And you say what you will about Joe Strummer, people, especially like people like Crass, like talked about it be more like simplistic and kind of not addressing the material needs of the people. But like, good God, he's a rock singer. I mean, like you're doing pretty good.
I didn't know he was a politician.
Exactly. It's like this man is like sticking this stuff in pop songs, dude. Like, what are you mad about? I think Know Your Rights is like that's a great style of opening song. By the way, this has also got Should I Stay or Should I Go on it.
I was very close to putting that on.
Which is a great, and that's those two dudes. That's like a great Mick Jones led song, right? Who tends to be like, look, he did Big Audio Dynamite afterwards. What do you just say? Like he's like the less political one, but also killer song, great song. But of course, none of that holds a candle to the cultural cachet of Rock the Casbah, which in 1982, which again, do people understand the cultural context of of what it all means and like what was happening in the Middle East at the time? Absolutely not. But like it's talking about like in Iran, since the Iranian Revolution, there was actually a ban on Western music.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like they allowed, I think, like classical music for a while, but they brought that back in 2005, and it's been remained ever since. But it just bringing to light like whatever what do you call it, the king Sharif, right? The Sharif.
Sharif, don't lie.
Yeah.
Rock the Casbah.
So it's like an allegory of like, that is of that, like putting that on the people and like bombing the protesters and whatnot. So it's like a bit of a fabulous account, but it's bringing to mind something that like a lot of people like now. I mean, with all these like Middle East entanglements we've had for like probably the last like 25 years or whatever. Yes, Christ's album did come out in 82, but I think Crass was a little unfair to Joe Strummer, but I get where they were upset. Anyway, Combat Rock's a great record. It's and like that's something where I'm kind of surprised people don't vibe with that more amongst like the left and whatnot. Just like they don't like pay more attention to Fugazi, don't pay more attention to Gang of Four, so on and so on. I think Combat Rock is the last good Clash record. Arguably, it's the last Clash record because Cut the Crap is just Joe Strummer and some dudes. Which, by the way, Cut the Crap has a song called "We Are the Clash." Horrible, by the way, but Sparks covered "We Are the Clash," which I think is so amazing.
Is Sparks on this playlist?
Sparks in 1982. I think it's is it?
I can't remember.
Angst in My Pants, maybe.
I can't remember.
Yes, it is one of their best records. Sparks comes out in 1982. That's got
there's a Sparks song on here as well.
Yeah, it's got Sextown USA. It's got Mustache, Instant Weight Loss, Decline to Follow Me, Eaten by Monster of Love. That's up there with Kimono My House for the best. Like, if someone insists on listening to a record and on a curated playlist of Sparks, it's I would say Kimono My House or Angst in My Pants. Like it is one of their most consistently just badass records.
Just the way you're saying this.
I know. Sorry, one of my favorite
like
bands.
From like Mr. Show or something.
Well, like Angst in My Pants is I don't know if you've listened to that song. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's in is it Valley Girl? Like it's in some movie.
No, is it?
Yeah, and I think Eaten by the Monster of Love is too. Yeah, it is Valley Girl, which comes out next year. So that's with Nicolas Cage and
like there was so much music that came out in 82 at 4 hours in. It was me and Toussaint were doing this because again, guys, I do not know 172 records that came out in 1972 on my own. of
Right.
every genre.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
Toussaint was helping me, and she would look up what the single was.
Oh, word, and then kind of reverse
And then
engineer
we
from
just
there.
go, okay, what's the popular song? Because I'm listening to everything.
That's
And-
great because when I come in, I'm gonna be like all the deeply obscure. Well, the thing about this is, well, like so. That's great. That's
That's
awesome.
and I have to be honest, I don't like a lot of the shit that's on here.
Yeah, but it's got to be part of the discussion.
Yeah,
right?
it's got to be
There
part of the
has to be-
discussion. I have to be able to hear. Like, who I'm not a fan of. I don't hate her. I'm just not a fan. Never grew up with it. Joni Mitchell. And we got to Joni Mitchell, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I remember saying this, no shit. I go, Conan, I go, fuck, Joni Mitchell. And so I find the record, right?
Yeah.
And I play the first song, and I'm like, oh, shit. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. There's some good Joni Mitchell stuff.
I was like, this is really good.
I don't like go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs of it or anything like some people do. And like, honestly, look, Joni Mitchell to a certain degree, and people are going to hate this comparison, but it's like Tori Amos, where it's like, yeah, man, I respect it, but like those fans, oof, like they just like, if you even mention the name, congratulations, you're now in a half-hour conversation about Joni Mitchell. Like, I don't want to talk about Joni Mitchell for a half hour.
Because
music's good, but I just don't want to discuss
Conan,
it.
When I saw, there's two names I saw on the list, and I want to get to this. I don't give a hot damn about Bruce Springsteen. No offense, right?
Yeah.
No offense.
And because it's one of the worst fandoms since Tool. I mean, like, seriously, like, it's
I just don't care, right? Born in the USA was one of those songs like, okay, it's time to turn the MTV off now.
But that's not only a different record, it's a different era of Springsteen. Nebraska is which I guess we can just talk about because it's literally on the
you please do. I need you to be the Springsteen guy because someone's like, you put this song on there or not. That's like, dude, you act like I give a shit or know Bruce Springsteen.
I decided in my later 20s, I was like, you know what? I think I need to give Bruce Springsteen a shot. I know that like he's wild influential, and that there's a lot of stuff that people love, Darkness at Edge of Town, stuff like that. Nebraska is specifically usually called out when there's some of like the worst records in the world that people are like talking about influences. Ryan Adams did a track by track cover of it.
Really?
At one point, just for the fuck of it. Yeah, that like I think if I remember, was it the Killers? Really in Nebraska. Like there's just a lot of. So what's interesting? Okay, so let me approach this from something that might be interesting to you. Sure. So first of all, there's the song Nebraska. It's a true story about a serial killer that. It's pretty interesting. It's a complex narrative. It's like Springsteen at his best, like doing that kind of storytelling in music. But there's a very bleak tone to all of this. And the band Suicide, right? Like Alan Vega, Suicide.
Yeah.
You know who else knew Suicide? Fucking Bruce Springsteen. Huge influence by Suicide. And the bleakness and sort of austerity in production of this record was like his sort of homage to that, which is funny because it doesn't sound like that. A lot of the stories on this album influenced by Howard Zinn.
Really?
By People's History of the United States. Yeah. Now, whether that shows through or not, I don't know. But like when I'm trying to like find like hooks for, again, I'm not a Springsteen evangelist, right? But I will say Nebraska is one of the more interesting records that he did for all.
See, that would make me go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Right? Because he could have been saying like, give all the coloreds reparation. I just don't care.
Yeah, it's not your vibe. Look, and I get it, like because there's all kinds of people like Amy Mann and like Ben Harper. Oh my god, Ben Harper
couldn't care.
That's why I'm saying is that, like the people that were like wild influenced by Nebraska specifically are usually people that like I'm like respect. I don't want to listen to that. Speaking personally, peace and love.
If you
you know what I mean?
You are at a party with an acoustic guitar.
Oh man,
I'm probably just.
I'm out.
I'm just gonna walk.
Can't leave that room fast enough.
Or I'm just gonna be a douche. I'm gonna be a super douche and be like, oh, can I see that real quick?
Right.
I hate to break up this John Mayer thing you got going on, but have you ever rode the lightning?
I was gonna say, have you ever heard this little song called Eruption?
will pick up your guitar and I will totally finger tap the intro to Hot for Teacher on your acoustic guitar.
Fantastic.
Don't think I won't.
Nebraska's good. Nebraska's a good record. It's rightly lauded by history, and you can't blame Springsteen or the record for the nonsense that it inspired. I think it's, if someone was like, I'm willing to give Springsteen a chance, it's like, listen to Nebraska. If you like it, cool. It may not be your jam. There's like 2 records I think that the casual fan maybe should pay attention to, and otherwise, like, you probably know what it's going to sound like, and that's what it sounds like. And I'm, like, whatever. Like, I'm never mad at it. He's an amazing performer. Endless respect. That man seeks out new music all the time. He's politically involved in a way that's not annoying.
I don't know. I pushed back real hard on that. His show with Obama.
Well, fair enough. Springsteen is a force for good. He has one of the most obnoxious fandoms, again, ever since Tool.
I'll give you that, because I was so shocked that somebody, like, again, I don't know. And I want to say this. I don't ever want to be offensive to music that means something to people, because there's so much shit that means stuff to me that every day there's a comment that's like, hey, that intro sucks. What's with the metal? Fuck this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, all the time.
Well, you can't sit around and like if you make everybody happy, you're doing something that's
doing something really wrong. Anything. But so I understand that, even songs I hate mean something to someone. So putting it on here, I'm not trying to fuck off your record. Or disrespect.
It's why we're discussing. Look, again, I would never put myself as Bruce Springsteen advocate, but here I am advocating for Bruce Springsteen, because I think the things that interest me about Bruce Springsteen aren't going to be the same things that the guy from The National is interested in. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to provide a little context. Calling balls and strikes. How about Under Pressure?
I was going to say I didn't necessarily like the record, right? But when I found Under Pressure, because I forgot it was on here.
Because it was out as a single first. What's on Hot Space?
Nothing that you care about. It really is one of those, like, there's a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, all love for Queen, like one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. Freddie Mercury, one of the best front people of all time, hands down. No discussion will be had on the matter. There's some dogs on this one, but Under Pressure. First of all, is it one of the greatest duets of all time? Yes.
Yeah.
God damn. Is it one of the greatest rock and roll songs of all time? God damn right. Yes.
Bass lines of all time. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's a great song.
Is it one of the greatest songs for Vanilla Ice to rip off? Also, yes.
Sometimes, as we got further down the list, I think as we got to like, again, there's 172 songs here. As we got closer to 100, there were moments where I was like, there's just hits, and you can't deny the hits.
Yeah.
Like Diana Ross does I Want Muscles in 82. I want muscles. And I was like, you can't deny that. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the Message. You can't deny that. The
Message still cooks.
One of the things that I said we were going to do was albums. I was going to put albums on here. The Message is a single.
Yeah.
I still think that's one of the most important singles in hip hop history, and hip hop isn't really doing records.
Not even hip hop, just in general. I mean, definitely in hip hop.
I had to put it on there. We'll get to that a little later, but
I mean, like, what is it to say about Under Pressure? Cooks. I mean, there's a great, there's a really fantastic, I guess it's an indie movie, called After Sun that came out last year that features Under Pressure at a really critical moment, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful movie, Paul Mescal. Heartbreaker of a movie, but yeah, pretty good. Have you ever seen people at karaoke try to do that? I think they underestimate the talent of the people singing, because it's
karaoke is one of those things that you realize some songs are longer than you think.
And then you're like, I've made a terrible mistake. Yeah.
Ace of Spades is my favorite. It's like you didn't know there was another verse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, it's there.
It's a long song. It's longer than you think.
Duran Duran, Rio.
Yes,
I talked about this when we Thursday when we had Kate, right? Who's had the great book on college radio. Mm-hmm. There was a series of YouTube videos that and Facebook Live, I think, I can't remember, that the bass player whose name is totally escaping me right now, of Duran Duran did. This is
John
like-
Taylor.
John Taylor. He's like, I ain't doing anything. Like, I'm just gonna do a run through of like these Duran Duran songs. I'm gonna show you what I was doing. And he did one for Rio, and the keyboards and the vocals are mixed so high. And I love that song, by the way. But the keyboard and vocals are mixed up so high you wouldn't necessarily notice. But that man is going. He's like, he's just like, and you're like, God damn, this sounds like a prog song. What's happening? And then but they have them, they still exist. And if you are even casually interested in Duran Duran, or interested, or if you're a musician or someone interested in the mechanics of music, highly recommend you look at him. Because first of all, by the way, man's holding up. Like, I don't know how old he is, but like he still looks handsome as hell, right? But that guy, that bass player, it's almost like he's from a different band. Where you're like,
can we say this? And Duran Duran is the perfect installation of good looks and musical talent.
oh, absolutely,
perfect direction. The art direction of Hungry Like the Wolf and Rio are so iconic. When you think the 80s, you think the album cover of Duran Duran.
Yeah, which has got that kind of like, first of all, is there anything more 80s in that album cover? Which is just like, oh, yeah,
it's like that Max, was it Maxell that had the commercial where the dude was sitting in front of the stereo and it was blowing his Is that Maxell?
Yeah, it's Maxell. Yeah,
that's all that to me is the 80s in a nutshell. And Duran Duran is there. Simon Le Bon's voice, on the boat in the Rio video.
Oh, it's amazing.
In the
video.
jungle in the Hungry Like the Wolf video.
Yeah. What are they doing? Doesn't matter. They're just running around. You know?
Just running around. Who is Rio? I don't know. She's dancing on the sand.
Sounds cool. I'd like to see her. Which one of these hot chicks is Rio? I don't know. Yeah, which one is pink? Yeah.
Hungry Like the Wolf was another song that I don't need to hear anymore, but
because if you hear it at like a club, most likely, or like a grocery store or whatever, like it's enough, right? But and then there's also like, sitting. Don't take the bed about me down, save it for the morning after. Like that song.
I love Save It for the Morning After.
Save Her Prayers was that song, but that's on there too, and that's a great song also, But here's the thing, man. At the time, because we were talking about like they should be pushed, like, oh, look at these handsome dudes, aren't they the best? Aren't they so dreamy? Like everyone in punk rock was like, fuck that, fuck them, Duran Duran sucks, etc., etc. And then later on, be like, oh, actually, this kind of cooks. Like this is actually pretty.
They're all about image. Look at my mohawk.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you watch this dude's fucking bass playthroughs, you're like, holy crap! Like the level of musicianship again. It's on that like King Crimson level of like, God damn, man! Like I swear, people, check it out. Like turn this show off. Go check that out and report back. Don't do that. Let's look at it later.
No, you can report back. I don't give a shit.
We talked about Screaming for Vengeance. Amazing.
Blood Bitch. You want to talk about Cocteau Twins?
Look, Pornography and Cure and this Cocteau Twins record came out the same year. I mean, it's a good year for being a moody, artsy boy or girl,
If you can put some imagery to it, right?
If you've ever heard Cocteau Twins, right? Like it's like you would have to invent it if you hadn't heard it, where it's like where it's vibey Scotch etherealness. And like, is there like they're a band that like if you are comparing bands or trying to explain why someone should listen to a band, you use them as like a reference point. It does kind of a Cocteau.
You know when I found Cocteau? You're gonna laugh at me for this. I discovered them touring with Cindy because we got so many comparisons to them. We were like, who the fuck are the Cocteau Twins? And so it just wasn't on our radar.
No. I mean, maybe the more ambient stuff, I guess, but I would not have thought of that but I mean, but like whatever, like I mean, like I don't. But the thing is, I also don't know what there is. Oh yeah, XTC, yeah. English Settlement. What's on that one? There's a great XTC documentary that came out a few years ago. I forget what it's called, but it's really good, and like you really get a sense for how much of a mad genius asshole Andy Partridge's. Like, it's freaking like he's such a curmudgeon and just like a just like a wild a wild character, and it's a really good doc. I forget the name of it, but highly recommended. I think there's a couple Colin. I think Colin Moulding did Ball and Chain on English Settlement. Senses Working Overtime's on there. XTC's hard. I had a hard time getting into XTC for years.
Why?
Because I think they have so much material, and like, I think I just kind of heard the wrong stuff.
Mhm.
But then I heard like Urger Music War, or saw Urger Music War, and I think I don't know if it's Generals and Majors or what. I'll have to check that. Chat's gonna be going nuts right now. Be like, it's this motherfucker. Which funny enough, I just talked to Steve Bartek from Oingo Boingo on Thursday as well. Oingo Boingo also in Urger Music War.
Did they have a record in 82?
I think they.
I feel like
did.
they're on the list. I don't remember. Again, I don't. Dude, looking.
It's a really aggressive. So the XTC song in Urger Music War is a really driving version of Respectable Street, but it took hearing Generals and Majors and Making Plans for Nigel, both of which written by the bass player, and like their biggest hits like for years were written by the other guy, and Andy Partridge was mad about that too. he was just mad about everything. But Making Plans for Nigel, you hear that, you're like, oh, what is this? This is cool.
Someone says Patrice Rushen. Yes, of course, Patrice Rushen is on this playlist. She is one of the most amazing musicians ever to play a freaking instrument.
So I'm thinking of Black Sea, which Respectable Street's on Black Sea, which is the record the year before that. English Settlement, it is very good. Look, XTC is good, intelligent, weird pop music, but like that can mean a lot of things, and there's a lot of errors of XTC. It took me a long time to be like, oh, this band actually is pretty rad. So take it that what you want.
So Philip Glass made the list, right? Laurie Anderson. Can you talk a little bit about Laurie?
Are we gonna skip over King Crimson? That's kind of like not my favorite King Crimson record, so that's fine if we do.
Okay, we can say, dude. Yeah.
I mean, Crimson made a record. There you go.
I'll say this much about the King Crimson record. I didn't know what I was gonna get because it's 82, not like 78, and that was the one that stood out to me. And by the time Toussaint said, "Oh, this is the one that I think is the most well known from the record," as she's looking it up, I was like, "Oh, I already put it on the playlist. Let's move on." But yeah.
Well, Beat's fine. Here's the problem with Beat. It came out after Discipline, which may be the best King Crimson record. It's like Red, Discipline, and Larkstones and Aspic for me. Like there's those three of like the different eras that are like, you need to listen to this stuff. Beat's good. It's just you know what it's not? Discipline, which is better in my opinion. I mean, again, opinions differ on world shape, but I'm correct.
Well, like I said, let's get into this Laurie Anderson.
Laurie Anderson, yeah, that's another one. That's like.
So tell us why this is an important 11-minute song.
Laurie Anderson is like both awesome and a harsh toke at the same time. For people that don't know, because I feel like Laurie Anderson is someone that could get a running up that hill Kate Bush style resurgence somehow, because there's a lot of very artsy folks that would dig Laurie Anderson and or do dig Laurie Anderson. I mean, she's an avant-garde artist first and like a musician later. But Oh Superman is like should never have been a hit. I mean, let's get real. It should never have been a hit. Like it's something where it was put in a super duper limited quantity. Some people, I think Radio 1 playlisted the record, and like it got her a 7-album deal or something along those lines. But it was part of like a stage work that she did. There was like, it was never meant to be like, I'm gonna sit here and make this music and write these songs. It was like she was just someone that like used all these like forms of mixed media and things in concert with her art. And it turns out that the people really vibed on that. And it's a cool song. It's weird. It's really weird. For how long is this song? I don't even
8:25.
Yeah,
it's yeah.
That song was like people vibed on it. Like it's great, and it's wild because it's usually like if you're over 4 minutes, like go pound sand was the normal thing. It's like one of the most unlikely hits in pop music. Yeah, a hit might be oversaying it, but I mean, they more or less came up with the term art pop for Laurie Anderson. I mean, it was avant-garde, to put it bluntly, and again, it started a quote unquote music career. We're talking about someone that she's like the Residents, where she would do these she'd like a CD-ROM. Remember CD-ROMs? And she was really early on the train with electronic music, and just really creativity forward. Laurie Anderson's a fascinating figure. She's still around, by the way. She's in her late 70s, but she's still around. Her and Lou Reed were married for a while. What are those dinner table conversations like? But Laurie Anderson is one of those people that's undeniably cool, even if large portion of her catalog I'm miss me with it. I'm not gonna listen to it. But
do you want to open up the phone lines in a minute?
Sure. What, do we have anything else that I need to get in?
Oh, dude, I mean, look, you already got an Ecstasy Ball and Chain. I don't think you're the biggest Bauhaus fan, but
I love Bauhaus. I think Bauhaus is great.
The Sky's Gone Out comes out, and this is my favorite song from The Sky's Gone Out.
I think it's silly when bands rip off Bauhaus because it's come on. But
well, I got bad news for you about contemporary goth.
I know.
One of my favorite songs that has some problematic lyrics comes out in this year, which is Only Theater of Pain by Christian Death.
Oh yeah,
that's another great record. Scorpions Blackout comes out in 82.
Can I tell you, this is the only playlist, by the way, that probably has Rosanna by Toto next to a fall song. And by the way, you're welcome.
It's Psycho Killer,
yeah,
the best Talking Heads song ever, and Jawbone and the Air Rifle by The Fall.
Yeah, you got Ebony and Ivory in there.
Susie and the Banshees.
Remember Ebony and Ivory? Oh man.
And wait, but look at this. After that, Free Speech for the Dumb.
Discharge. Get into that hardcore.
New Frontier by Donald Fagen. I don't care what anyone says. I love New Frontier. That's the. I don't feel like that's as daring of an opinion now as it used to be. Everyone loves that shit now.
I can't, and everyone acts like they're like being physically assolted for liking it. I'm nobody cares that it's fine. Listen to
someone. Okay, so I made a joke. So remember on the show, was it me and you that I said that I'm going to do a new Black national anthem? No, sorry, it was a sports show. I said no one knows the words to the Black national, because they sing it now on that was part of your George Floyd gift. Here we're going to sing the national anthem, Please Stop Burning Shit Down, the Black national anthem at sporting events. And I was like, I don't know anyone that knows all the words. And I was like,
well, I don't even know. I didn't realize that was a real thing. I thought you were just doing a bit. I mean, full disclosure, I don't care about sports. So that's all news to me. I'm I thought you were just literally just manufacturing. Oh yeah, Black national anthem. Oh, that's funny. What would that be?
It's the thing.
No, it's a message.
Lift every voice.
What?
Yeah.
Who wrote this?
Who wrote? I don't know.
Who's responsible?
Send them to my office. King. Martin Luther, the Coretta Scott King.
Michael Cooper. How long has this been the thing? Is this I thought that was.
I mean,
damn. All right.
Again, Central Valley. It wasn't too many of us there.
Shit, now. Kidding me? And the ones they were, everyone knew by name. Oh yeah, that's Jerome. Oh, okay, it must be great for him.
Should we sing the national anthem we just heard?
Let's sing that national anthem. This is please don't sing that to me.
But if you sang him, She Dropped a Bomb on Me by the Gap Band.
Right, exactly.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So glad you said sports and not black people. Bad lefties. God damn. All right. It's like that, huh?
82 is the year. Speaking of Black national anthems, Sexual Healing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. Marvin Gaye. That's that's 82. I guess. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think this is.
We're both busy being pretty young. So
no, I think that was posthumously, and I think it was.
Yeah. I was gonna say I thought that was way earlier. Yeah.
I think it's the greatest hits thing.
He
Shock
died.
Monkey.
He died in 80. He died at 84, 1984.
Okay, so he was
at
still
the
alive.
age of 44. Wow, that's
Still,
wild.
what a
So
crazy.
Midnight Love is his last solo studio record. It looks like, according to the internet, which has never been once wrong.
But the other thing that's hard to do with these searches, Conan, is that a lot of these records have different names in different countries.
Oh, that's exhausting. Yeah.
It was dude, we started going through and trying to find out, okay, no, it's called this in the States, but it was called that in Europe, and that's why we can't find it.
Don't even get me started. Those AC/DC records where it's like they're like different records practically. They like put so many different songs.
Yeah, there's like different tracks. Oh
Yeah.
man,
it's wild,
dude.
Before we shock the monkey, Peter Gabriel. That's right. That's when Peter Gabriel, noted prog rocker Peter Gabriel, former frontman of Genesis, went solo, and Shock the Monkey was like that huge hit, and people like Peter Gabriel with a huge hit, but that was Peter Gabriel's. People that had a good video, right? But that was his version of kind of being like technology forward and production forward. It's actually a good song. I mean, there's good use of like synthesizers and like dance rhythms, like it's cool. I feel
the
like
next record is where he wins all the Grammys, right?
Right. That's the one where
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, by the way, that fucks.
Your Eyes.
That's a great song.
Is Your Eyes a Genesis song?
No. It's Peter Gabriel solo. But I feel like I should have stronger feelings about Peter Gabriel than I do.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I'd be like I should like want to go to war for that man or something. But like,
no, it's fine.
It's pretty good. It's good. Like respect.
I'll fight over Phil Collins before I fight over Peter Gabriel. That's a funky ass drummer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
he was just everywhere in the 80s. So people are like, "Oh, Phil Collins is everywhere." It's like, you know what? Good.
Or especially these days, people are like, Phil Collins is the fucking best. He's the best. Blah, blah. Like people like millennials, goddamn, or whatever. What's the newest generation? They love Phil Collins so much.
What do they love? The studio?
I'm like, calm down. They love all of it. They think he's the best. They love him.
He's a badass fucking drummer. Motherfucker was a
nobody ever said he wasn't. I'm just saying that, like, the amount of like generational divide between like how Phil Collins is because Phil Collins was like, for us, it was like, oh, that's dad rock. That's or mom rock or whatever at the time, right? Look, you're telling me
it was pop music.
Yeah,
it was safe music in the car because we were kids. We were kids when that was still coming on. We were in the car.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You got to understand. I grew up and then I got like Black Sabbath and Van Halen and AC/DC and Billy Idol being played. I'm like, Phil Collins, what is this crap? Jesus Christ. But yeah,
he's not riding the lightning.
Yeah. Why don't you try riding the lightning, bro? Yeah, it's so the record is So 86 is Peter Gabriel. That's the one that's got Red Rain and Sledgehammer and
okay,
that's the one. Yeah, which also good. And a great example of someone that like you listen to that early Genesis stuff like that, that's like, oh, I listen to real prog. I listen to Genesis, where it's like it is so deeply inscrutable. It's badass, but is so far afield from what both Peter Gabriel as a solo artist and Phil Collins as a solo artist, who brought Genesis along for a while, did. It is utterly befuddling.
This is the greatest comment of all time. Great divorce album of the 80s. Phil Collins reigns supreme. Phil Collins
respect.
Every dad at a Chuck E. Cheese on Saturday between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Just sitting there, just counting out that clock.
Twice, just watching the kid. Just another day.
Oh man,
the soundtrack.
Got his ass on that one, didn't you? Yeah,
dude. Well,
that hairline too. Oh man.
Oh man, I'm that dad, dude. When I see my son, it's like, I love you, boy. You know that, right?
All right. So to be clear, I do not harbor any hate or even dislike for Phil Collins. I'm just amazed that like the level to which the young folks vibe with it, because I did not expect that. Like, why that? Like, why Phil Collins and not like?
I didn't know that there was a thing for young people.
It is real.
Conan. I don't.
Yeah.
These aren't the droids I'm looking for.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Walk on, son. Walk on.
I'm gonna keep on walking.
There's the Blue Mask. What fucking Lou Reed record is that? There was a lot of.
I don't know, man. That was a rough one.
I like Lou Reed. I don't remember anything about that record, so that's not a good sign.
Okay, this is
what REM record was that? Because I feel like we're
the REM record.
Yeah, it's
Chronic Town.
Which one is that? I was actually, we were driving around like Ohio or something, right? And like we actually just threw on let's listen to REM, and we threw on all the different eras of REM. No, man, REM is good. Like, people get this idea that it's like shiny, happy people holding hands. It is not that.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I'm just thinking about the difference in our tour fans.
Oh, well, look, I'm not saying that's the only thing that's happening. Like I'm just saying that, like, we hit a thing where, like, let's listen to some REM. That sounds like
I just remember we were like, I was like, hey guys, I really don't, I'm driving right now, and I'm just gonna apologize up front, but I'm about to play this George Michael because I'm really feeling that Freedom 90 right now.
There's a time and there's a place. Well, the reason why I specifically asked is because Radio Free Europe was a hit. It was a non-album single in '81, but it also was a single that like charted in '83. And Radio Free Europe, first of all, badass tune. Secondly, kind of like the thing that sort of initially puts them on the map. So I was wondering which record that was, because there's when people think, a lot of people think of REM, especially our generation, they're thinking of "That's Me in the Corner,"
those
losing my breath. Yeah, and look, that record
video
is good.
What was the name of that record? What's the name of it?
Is it Out of Time? Is that
anyway,
right? Automatic for the
one.
People.
And that's when Michael Stipe was looked at as like one of the most important voices in rock music.
Right. And that's like, and one reason I bring it up is 10 years later is when that happens. That's when you got like "Everybody Hurts Sometime," which I think of every time I'm in a traffic jam. But they also have like a Green Document, Life's Rich Pageant, Fables of the Reconstruction, so on and so on. But I think really for them, like it starts up in earnest with Murmur, which has got Radio Free Europe, and which kills. Like I've played that for people, not even saying what it is, and people are like, "Wow, what is this?" And it's REM. Like, oh, for real? And like it makes sense when you hear the Minutemen toured with REM. Like if you listen to like Radio Free Europe and like that early stuff, it makes sense.
Bill Cody's a perfect person to talk about this because he knows them and he did that documentary.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that
movie that he did about them. I didn't know this song existed. "Samurai" featuring Stevie Wonder by some random Brazilian, and it's a badass fucking song.
Oh really?
It's a badass song. Yeah,
I don't know anything about it.
I had no idea the song existed in the world. It came up on the list. I was like, put it on. "Flock of Seagulls," self-titled, comes out in '82. You can't talk about the '80s and new wave.
"Flock of Seagulls" is like shorthand for like '80s pop, right?
You're right. And but I do love "Space Age Love Song."
What's their big one? And I went around so far away. That's on this one. Okay. Yeah, all right. Like I'm not mad at it. I'm just
if we could play. If everyone watching donated $2, then we could play. I'm being totally serious. If everyone watching donated $2, we could play these songs that we're mentioning, and this show would get a gajillion views, and it would be worth the demonetization. because then the calls would be so much nicer. The calls are nice.
We could do you could do it on podcast. It can't be on YouTube, right? I mean, you could do it on like
YouTube. I don't think they'll pull it. But I think
they'll
they'll
demonetize. And if you get too many, I think they whatever. I mean, I'm a latecomer to YouTube. I did Protonic for I think 6 years, like only as a podcast before I ever even did a video element. So all of this copyright strike stuff is still real.
It's fucking annoying. I did this as a podcast first too, for that same reason.
Yeah.
Right. And I did a show called 10 songs I wish I wrote, and I played 12.
I remember,
songs
yeah,
I
because
wrote.
I threw in my you had a what's his nuts who played in Bitter Lake did the good one of those two. I did one, like a bunch of
Yeah.
people did them. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good
yeah,
little
dude.
prompt.
They're fun. I think they're fun lists. They're different than my favorite 10 songs. It's like, dude,
No, these are ones I wish I wrote.
I wish
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would have wrote that shit. This is my, I was working on that riff. No. That's one of my favorite shows I ever did. It's just me jumping up all over the studio.
Yeah, we can't skip Flipper.
No, of course I can't. My the picture on my iTunes is me and Ted watching a football game. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Ted, friend of the show, Ted. My bandmate Tony subbed in on bass for Flipper, which
he did. He didn't do a tour. Was that for the show?
Just for Caterwall. Yeah,
Yeah.
for Caterwall with Shannon from Cows singing. It's fucking amazing. It's great. I mean, that's like I said, don't get me wrong. Like the temptation to pull a Dick Cheney and nominate myself was certainly there, but I was like, oh no, it's got to be Tony. You got to get Tony. He did a great job. Like I mean, I hope they do it again sometime. I don't know. I don't know if they will, but yeah, that's a weird. Of all the weird, like I've got a lot of brushes with at least punk rock celebrity, right?
Mhm.
Like I mean, I played with Dale Crover. I played the drummer who was on all my records. Literally played in Nirvana, not for too long, but he's got a freaking platinum record from it. Like Paho, he's in Gang of Four now and played with Corgan. Like what? Like I have all these like, oh yeah, I kind of forget about that sometimes, right? But like they're also like, does Grandma Ma know about it? No, she don't care about that. She don't care about Flipper. Like Flipper babies? No, not really. Yeah.
He was a Raiders fan. He kind of just watches the game. Someone's asking about that. There was a moment after my ex left, the most divorced dad thing I could do was convince DirecTV that it was my house. Because when you get a satellite for a business, it's like $1,000.
Yeah.
For your house is like $100. So the satellite guy comes and goes, he goes, "This is a fucking business." And I was like, "Hey man, I live here." He goes, "There's no way in the world you live here." I was like, "I live here." Because I don't know if you remember, there was the bar in the back of the stage room. So
I remember that.
Someone, it's just typical Soundwave fashion. Someone doesn't pay their rent. Al gets a TV. Al has this big screen TV he can't do anything with. And so Cindy leaves. I'm super depressed. And I was like, I'm going to get a satellite. We're going to watch football every Sunday. And I told Al, I was like, Al, I'm going to get a satellite. Is that cool? I was like, I don't give a damn as long as you pay for it. So I was like, I'm going to set it up in the stage room. The guy, I'm arguing with this guy for a minute. And he goes, "You know what? Fuck it." And so he just installs the satellite in the business.
That's awesome.
And we would watch football every Sunday and have, kind of cool big get-together. So it was kind of just a Sunday thing. We had the ticket on there. So it was a bunch of musicians.
The Ted from Flipper was involved.
Yes, very much involved in Sunday football and Monday night and all the playoffs and the Super Bowl parties.
Sure.
Yes, very much involved. But my favorite Ted story is when the original singer of Faith No More was there. They were doing a reunion run show.
He
just passed away a few years ago.
That's right. They did a couple of those shows. I forgot about that. Yeah.
We didn't know
Chuck Mosley, right?
Chuck Mosley.
Yeah.
So Chuck Mosley, we know it's, and you mentioned this yesterday. Me and a guy that sadly died last year were watching old Target videos.
Oh.
Ted had walked in and he goes, "I'm on one of those." Yeah. And so
that's awesome.
So we go and we find him when he's on and we're watching it. And he's telling us about the Target videos and all this other stuff and where they were done and the guy. And as he's telling us, Chuck Mosley walks up and the studio's not open yet.
Yeah.
And so we just assumed he was a homeless person from outside. So we're about to fuck Chuck Mosley. We just thought he fucking came and was about to start some shit. So we were about to fuck Chuck Mosley up. And he was like, I'm Chuck. I'm with Faith No More. And we was like, all right, word.
That man must have been looking ragged.
It was, he wasn't having his best day. It was also
Yeah. It's whatever. That way goes.
Good times. Good. There were some good times had at that warehouse.
Generic Flipper, one of the best punk rock records of all time. You do not have so much music that I love without Generic Flipper. If you see these lists of certainly best punk rock records, but like best rock records of all time, you may see Flipper in there. Rolling Stone pays attention now and again. Melvins are the first one to mention. Just mentioning Dale. Oh, awesome! I actually. Dale is out with the Red Cross right now, which is great, and I wish I could have seen it. The fucking RNC in Milwaukee meant that it would have been a 3-hour drive to Chicago one way and then 2 hours back. I was like, I can't spend 5 hours drive to go see a show and see my dude, but I would have loved to have seen that because he's doing an acoustic set as well. But yeah, everyone said Sabbath, and like Buzz is the first one to be like, no man, Flipper. Like that's like if we pulled from anything, it's Flipper. And there's so much of the like when people love the sun and sleep and all that, like there's a through line to all of that, like back to Generic Flipper. Anything like Droney coming from that punk rock world.
Such the opposite of what's happening at the time. Everybody's going Mach 1.
Yeah, everyone's going fast. Like we were talking about Bad Brains, right? Like just fast as possible. And they're like, no, we're gonna go way slow, like to the point that you're like, first time you hear it, you're like, damn, like what is happening here? Like what is happening? And then like
made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable and scared me a little bit. That's good. I think, and
like it sounds loose in this really bizarre way, but it like it isn't, but it sounds kind of loose. Like it's like there is no band like Flipper. There's no band like Flipper, and there's certainly no record like Generic Flipper. And the 82, man, that's a change freaking world as far as I'm concerned. And like still play it to this day, play that record all the damn time. I listen to the other stuff too, but like that record is just unfuckable. By the way, Bruce Luce coming back to Flipper, don't count on it. That's what I'll say.
No, not at all.
Bruce Luce is
not at all. He's not even close.
Let's just say that's not going to happen.
Last I heard,
you'll definitely see Tony play with Flipper before you'll.
Didn't David Yao come back again just recently?
Yeah, he did what is it? The Jesus are again now, but he did like I think Europe and Australian tour with them a couple years back. And I mean, Jesus is back with a vengeance right now, so I wouldn't see it right now. I did see Flipper with Yao. I saw I had Yao on Protonic Reversal right before that happened, and I saw 2 of the shows at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco. It was fucking awesome. I actually have a shirt from it. It was great. He was perfect with it.
Did I tell you about that night?
Wait, you know someone?
Bottom of the Hill night.
Mark Owen. You know Dan Peters? Mark
Owen's the man, dude.
But hook it up. I want to have him on Protonic. I've had Steve Turner on, but I've never had anyone else from Mudhoney. I love Dan Peters. I gave him mad props. Unique drummer. Sorry, I just
no.
I mostly ignore the comments. I happen to see that one. I was like, oh, shit,
I'm gonna have you do me this favor while I get the phone line tied up. I need you to talk about why Billy Joel's Pressure, Scorpions Blackout, and Blast Off by the Birthday Party are the best 3 songs on this 100.
That are both from like wildly different locations, right? I'm maybe not the best guy to talk about Billy Joel, but for folks that like Billy Joel, like he was right down the line. He was on one at this time. Brought a lot of joy to the people that love Billy Joel. I don't really have much else to say other than that. The Piano Man was doing well around this time. This is before the what was that Boomer Tirade song? We Didn't Start the Fire. Ugh, horrifically bad song. That just is that's like 89 or something. That's like later in the 80s. But whatever. Being mad at Billy Joel is just like, I don't know, it's being mad at wallpaper or something along those lines as far as I'm concerned. I was gonna skip ahead and say that the Junkyard by Birthday Party, possibly best post-punk record of all time, one of the best punk rock records of all time. no record that sounds like it. Junkyard. Music that actually seems dangerous. And in some cases, there's so much for people that don't know, it's Nick Cave's first band, Mick Harvey from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds as well in there. I've had Mick Harvey and Phil Calvert on the show, who's the drummer who got kicked out of the band. I think while they were making that one, if I remember correctly, but there's a through line from the Stooges to the birthday party. And then from the birthday party, Sonic Youth, De Kreutzen, to a certain degree, Swans, Jesus Lizard, Scratch Acid. Scratch Acid basically was like the birthday party of Texas, which was the David Dial band before the Jesus Lizard. Just one of the most vital and influential records for the entire genre of post-punk. Almost painful to listen to, like it's because it's mixed so aggressively. But if you can listen to a song, like Big Jesus Trash Can or Dim Locator, Dead Joe, and not be like, oh, this is real stuff, then I don't even know what to tell you. There's a great another documentary that came out very recently about the birthday party. I actually was lucky enough to see it in the theater. It's probably streaming it at this point, I would imagine, called Mutiny in Heaven, that I highly suggest check it out. Yeah, it looks like for people in the US, you can watch it on Prime Video or Tubi. And I don't know about everywhere else, but it's available on other digital platforms around the world. Highly recommended. Tracy Pugh, one of the greatest super creep bass players, just giving off like absolute like malevolent gunfighter energy the entire time, air humping his bass, stuff like that. They had style. They had that sort of like goth style, but played with punk rock ferocity. And just Nick Cave at his absolute spun out best, just sometimes physically assaulting the audience, so on and so on. And for most people, Junkyard is their favorite record. It's not my favorite record by the birthday party, but I do think it's absolutely like one of the most influential records of that era. So it's absolutely amazing. And again, nothing, no shade to other bands around this time, but if we were picking out just the influential records, I think it would look entirely different. But this is the rare case where, from a monoculture perspective, it was invisible, but it was just an absolute just grenade in the room for the world of punk rock. There's a lot of stuff like that. We haven't even talked about Missioner Burma. Again, I've had everyone but Clint, Missioner Burma, on Protonic Reversal, so obviously a huge fan. But Versus is like, there's no record that sounds like Versus. Like, and it was not, to say it wasn't a hit at the time is a wild understatement, but the world caught up to Missioner Burma, and that's rightly regarded against on these lists of like most important records of the 80s and so on and so on. That's another one that you just have all of these people that like come to it and be like, there's nothing that sounds like this. What are they even doing here? It's crazy. And I love that. I think that's amazing. What was it? What was the other one that was it Asia? Heat of the Moment? was that the other one?
Asia? Did I say Asia? I didn't say Asia, did I?
I don't remember. You said birthday party, Billy Joel, and something else.
I did say
Scorpions.
Yes, Scorpions. Blackout. 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 I love Blackout.
Yeah, Scorpions. You can't tell
Black
the story.
Black Metal by Venom comes out in '82, which I actually really dig.
By the way, Blackout. That's like the 8th Scorpions record. They were around for a minute before that. Like people.
Dude, was Uli John Roth on that record?
On Blackout? Oh Christ. I don't even know. Let's see. No, so that's
Michael Schenker, and
it's Rudolph Schenker.
Oh,
I don't think Michael Schenker's even on that one. Hold on, I think it might be. Man, I didn't expect to go deep into the Scorpions, but here we are. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, Scorpions. Yeah, they got a lot of records, man.
Tons of records. Tons of records.
When is it? So Michael Schenker's on Love Drive, which is 79.
I'm so shocked he's not on Blackout.
When is because there's a Michael Schenker band. If you if you look at if you look at Night Flight long enough, the streaming service, you'll eventually see the Michael Schenker band. He's all over that for some reason. But he when was UFO? That was like
70s.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty cool. Uli John.
Oh, okay, so he's so real quick, Michael Schenker, Lonesome Crow, and Flight of the Rainbow. Then it's all UFO, and then Love Drive, and then it's Michael Schenker group after that, and then like he comes back with UFO in like the 90s and whatnot. But yeah, okay, so that's
Uli John Roth came to play the Jason Becker benefit that they do every year. You know who Jason Becker is, right? The guitar player that got ALS.
Oh yes, that's what my aunt died of.
Oh, sorry to hear about that.
It was a while ago. It's fine.
And he just let him and Gus G left their rigs. Just like here. Like they gave it to me. I don't need it.
Wow.
Yeah.
God damn, that's a fuck you money right there. That's like Tushy doesn't like when I say this, but like Chris Novoselic, the Melvins did Bases Loaded. Chris Novoselic, which is just a bunch of different bass players with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Novoselic did one of them. He has a signature Gibson RD bass.
Mm-hmm.
And so he brought his copy of the signature RD bass and he played the song with them, and he played accordion, which he likes doing more than playing bass, by the way. And he just left it. He just left it there. Hey, you guys keep it.
I'll get another one. Yeah.
I mean, man was in Nirvana, so it's like, what does he care? Like, it's
just it's crazy.
Fuck you money.
Yeah, when you talk about like, all the things we have to do to like get,
it's like a $2,000 guitar, you know? Jesus.
I'm still washing cars to buy an amp. It's fucking, he just left this really. It was a cool maroon. What company made it? You know, but it wasn't like a Marshall. It was Black Star that made him and Gus G a line of amps.
That's why Black Star. Black Star. I played a Black Star some record. I don't remember.
You can get tone out of it if you know what you're doing. You get tone out of it. I wouldn't say they're pieces of crap.
I was skeptical of them, but I played a fucking overdub on something. I can't remember what it was, but there's a before we. I don't know if we have calls that we need to get to, but Dexys Midnight Runners. They're the song that everyone knows by them.
Yeah. And you know what? I was gonna try to be cute and find another song. I was like, oh, talk about a group I don't care about.
Well, there's a huge discography. Huge discography for Dexys Midnight Runners. And I know people, and like that's something that like you got to be careful about saying that band's name, because if you see it around someone's a fan, oh, you are locked in for the next 20 minutes, boy. Because they're gonna be telling you about like, well, think about that. There was different eras. There was Mark 1, Mark 2.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's super different eras.
I don't want that information right now, but
didn't need to know. I just needed to know that you guys love it. But okay, so what track is this?
Come On Eileen. That's a
59. So by the time we got to 59, it was like whatever the single is.
Well, Come On Eileen is so first of all, absolutely a stuff white people like song. Don't get me wrong. But but if you listen to that song, crazy arrangement. Like insane. Like again, that's a rare example of like, it's weird that's like a hard hitting song when like the lead instrument's a violin. First of all, and like it shouldn't work. Like it's great. I think that song's fucking awesome. I actually like you know, I don't like seek out the deep cuts by Dexys Midnight Runners or anything, but like it's a good tune. Like and like if you listen to it, like, wow, it's wild. Like, how did they come up with this arrangement? Like this is really, really crazy. Like the only thing I can think of that was Mark Owen mentioned in the comments was the Pogues that like they ended up kind of doing some of that sort of stuff later on, but no one else was really doing that kind of thing. And you know, respect.
Songs 4K. Dexy's doing the hardest violin riff.
Dude, it's hard as AF, man. Like if you listen to that, it's like, damn. They're in a Young Ones episode, just like Motorhead and Madness and whatnot, which is great. But they don't do Come On Eileen. They do a different song.
Motorhead's on this playlist, by the way, too.
Oh hell yeah! I don't know which
the Eraserhead soundtrack's on this playlist as well, too.
Great soundtrack. Great soundtrack. We did not mention Roxy Music, Dusty. It was on the list, but we skipped over it for some reason. What's
Did we skip over it?
We did.
No, I
Or we
literally
didn't get to it.
We haven't gotten to it. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff down past 100. You're like, damn, really?
Yeah,
Like the Who is 65.
That is a dog shit record, too. By the way, like I love the Who, but that record is woof, like not good. And you're talking to the guy that I just posted the live clip of A Quick One While He's Away on Facebook, and like one of the best live clips in rock and roll of all time, probably. I love the Who, but like Eminence Front and all that, no. Miss me with that.
I will say this:
Peace and love.
Creatures of the Night Kiss record.
Yeah,
pretty good. It's pretty good. Creatures of the Night Kiss, pretty good. I Love It Loud.
There's a lot of Kiss that is pretty good. Like people don't like to give it up because Gene Simmons is such an absolute twat. But like, I mean, look, there's a lot of Kiss that's pretty good if you're into rock and roll. The Roxy Music record, it's the one with More Than This. It's that one, right?
Ooh,
It's
yeah. More Than This. I think More Than This is the song on the playlist. I believe it's More Than This. You know,
so that's a Brian Ferry. I think is Eno out at that point. I think Eno's like been up for a while now. I gotta say I dig Roxy Music, but I don't think about Roxy Music almost ever. So
Angst in My Pants was the Sparks record, and
yes, it is.
I predict was the song I used.
I mean, not Sextown USA, not Mustache, not Eaten by the Monster of Love.
See, come on, zoom like that. See,
Angst in My Pants, the title song. You got to give it up for that one. Like it's the perfect. So first of all, it's very much, they were ahead of their time, but it very much sounds like 80s, but is like the most clever and awesome version of that 80s pop. Like clearly, intelligence level wise, like 30 or 40 IQ points over something like Flock of Seagulls or something. Peace and love.
Stevie says, shout out to the Necessaries only LP, Event Horizon, a hidden gem released in 1982 featuring Ernie Brooks of the Modern Lovers and the artist Arthur Russell. Sounds John Cale or Brian Eno join the Feelies. Thank you very much. Now, if we get
dump the neutron on that one, I never even heard.
If we get 45 more of those, then we can actually play these songs. And you know what? If we get 5 more like that, I'll play some of the song. Until we get fucking shut down, because that shit's just too much fun, and I'd rather have fun.
I would love to like fire that up right now. You know, Jesse Chamberlain of Red Crayola. Wow, that's weird. They don't know.
So Bad Religion is number 73. We're only gonna die.
Well, I mentioned that earlier about how like that is it's the first Bad Religion record. There's different epochs with them. Zach De La Rocha vibed on that big time. Good record, really like wild looking cover and insert. It's good. I mean, Bad Religion's good. People used to get mad at Bad Religion. I don't really remember why. I don't know, because 21st Century Digital Wave was a huge inescapable hit on MTV. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like that's a band that's always kind of done their thing. They've always done their thing, and like I don't understand why people get mad at bands sometimes, where it's like they didn't like change up what they do or anything. They have their thing. They're doing that thing. And do you like that thing? Yes. No. Okay. Well, they're doing it either way. MDC got MDC in there. We got to shout out millions.
John
of
Wayne
cops.
was a Nazi. Yeah.
Millions of dead cops. Millions of damn Christians. Let's see. What was some of the other? They had.
I got definitely cleaned by the Dream Syndicate. Now, can you tell people why you believe the Dream Syndicate is the 4th best band on this playlist?
Wow, what a leading question.
Out of 172 records, why this is the 4th best?
The 4th best. Well, I mean, if you like your krautrocky kind of, I invoked Eno earlier, right? Like ambiance, then I think they were part of they call it the Paisley Underground, right? Was that the sort of neo psych music that was on there? Tony Conrad, John Cale, like it's was it Steve Winsdeal, right? Who He did a solo career as well. He brought Dream Syndicate back in 2012 or something along those lines. But kind of like that's another like True Heads No situation. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know what I don't know if I would call it like the fourth best on this screen, let alone the fourth best on the list. But that's good.
On the screen. What about George Harrison's solo Gone Tropo record?
Gone Tropo. He got a record called Gone Tropo. Which one is that? Is that the one?
Topo Chica. What?
Is that the one's got my mind set on you? Is that one, or is that the one after?
Nope. Yeah, that's
after.
got
my mindset, but it's got that's on Fox.
No, yeah, nope.
Gone Tropo. It includes "Wake Up My Love," "Dream Away."
"Wake Up My Love."
The one that's the theme song for Time Bandits. Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, that one's okay. It's all right. I mean, like.
Again, Phil Collins. I don't care anymore.
I don't care anymore.
Say. Again, say.
You gotta like unlock your jaw when you do that. I don't care anymore. Wow. Like it's just like there's no enunciation of any kind. It's like the opposite. Iron Fist, Motorhead.
I gave you the 2-minute 51-second Motorhead track.
Yeah, I mean that's
this. By the way, this Billy Idol record, so much.
That's sure, but back to Motorhead. This the last one with Fast Eddie Clark and Filthy Animal on it. So it's the last one of that classic lineup before Fast Eddie takes off. What else is on there? Doesn't really matter. It's Motorhead. It's
Motorhead. Motorhead. You know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. You know what do you think it sounds like? That's what it sounds
different
like.
Enough. You're like, oh, this is cool. They got a new record out. It doesn't sound like the last one all together.
Yeah. What are you saying, Bill? What was it? That's the self-titled Billy Idol record?
Yeah. White Weddings on it.
What was that? How soon after the break from Generation X was that?
Right after, because you can be, dude, it's such a put together record when you look at it. There's hella covers.
Yeah, because Generation X broke up in 1981. Yeah, you're right, because they were like, no, we're gonna make him the star. That's like how like that's how they were doing it, right? They were trying to break it. Yeah, so that's Rebel Yell is like the next record.
I believe so. I think that record's called Rebel Yell.
The second record is Ooh,
but this is one that's just filled. You can tell they brought him in a studio. We're gonna have you do these covers. We wrote these 2 hits. Just sing them.
It's got White Wedding Part 1. Right?
I don't even know what Part 2 is, because Part 1 is the one you know. Hey, little sister.
Yeah. Well, because the second record, that's got Eyes Without a Face and Flesh for Fantasy. Like it's got Rebel Yell, the title track. There's
so not punk songs though.
No, absolutely not. Like
it's so funny that you could just hey guy that's a punk guy. Want to sing some smooth pop music with a fucking snarl on your face and some fingerless gloves?
Yeah. Oh man, do you remember his Cyberpunk record?
No.
Oh man, fucking what was that thing called? You also had a 90s Rock the Cradle of Love.
Oh, I remember.
It's the Cradle. I remember the video for Cradle of Love was what I remember. He did a record. Oh, it's not great in '92 called Cyberpunk, and shock to the system. Yeah, like it's you got to watch this video, man. Is it great? No. But it is worth watching the video. Like if I remember, I think he turns into like a cyborg or something at the end. Like it's
songs 4K says Billy Idol videos were stunningly absurd fantasies. The phone lines are
really
open,
were
510-319-1899. If no one's gonna call,
do we just keep going?
God.
You know that the fucking video for Cradle of Love is talking about, directed by David Fincher.
Was it for a movie?
For the Adventures of Fort Fairlane. Remember that? The freaking
I went to the theater to see the Adventures of Fort
Dice Clay vehicle. Oh my god, wow. That's wild.
Dude, I totally went to the theater to see the Adventures of Fort Fairlane. Andrew, people forget Andrew Dice Clay could do no wrong.
Yeah.
In the late 80s.
I told you we met him, right?
Where?
Dice Clay in LA. We were meeting up with Toshi, and like he was just at a bagel shop, like in a Gold's Gym shirt, like
Buff
sitting
as
there.
fuck.
Yeah, just like he was dictating notes for like some comedy or whatever. We actually talked to him for a bit. He was super cool to us. It was,
He was dictating
like he had it up
to a
like
dictaphone. Yeah. Oh no
yeah,
shit.
yeah, like that. Yeah, we talked to him for a while about like touring and stuff. He was super cool. Like
No shit.
he was just like very low key, very
Nobody was fucking with him.
yeah, it's just fucking just look like some guy.
That's how it's funny.
You got
It's
Gun Club.
Love My Way.
Psychedelic Furs. Yeah, that's that's they deserve a place in history. Which Gun Club record? That's Miami. I think last time we
First one,
did
I
in
believe.
80s. Yeah, that was
84. Was it 80? No, it was 90. They weren't around in 94, right? No.
Gun Club. They came back. Well, I remember last time the Gun Club came up. I had just had Kid Congo Powers on, so I remember that better. But they did a record. Lucky Jim is like 93.
Okay.
I think Las Vegas Story is when Kid comes back. Maybe yes. Who's credited for excessive feedback, guitar and slide guitar, whirling whirlies, maracas, and ancient mutterings. But he's not on this one. What's up? I know that's some sick.
That's fucking rad.
Miami is what's on this one? Let's see.
Run Through the Jungle is the song I picked.
Yeah, that's a Creedence cover though. But like, what's like their songs? I don't remember much about Miami. Oh yeah, that's got like it's like Fire of Love on there, right? And yeah, that one's good. Gun Club's good. I mean, like, Gun Club is consistent. They never were like one of my favorites of all time, but I remember like I'm being obsessed with the birthday party. So it's like, oh, have you heard the Gun Club? I'm like, no, that sounds cool though. What is that? And I think I heard the wrong record first. You know what I mean? And then I kind of like tried a different one. And I was like, okay, now I get why people would say that. But it's sort of like stripped down punk rock plus like roots blues music, and they're very much along the same lines of that period of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds too, which is funny. Some Kid like kind of went back and forth between those two bands, but like very different, coming at from different ways. Supertramp.
Before we go to Supertramp, Joe Jackson Stepping Out is
Stepping Out,
a badass song. Love Stepping Out.
I mean, yeah, what is there to say? Like,
love Stepping Out, dude. This is why, Conan, we need to have a show on terrestrial radio. I don't care if
we're ready. Hit us up,
because we can right there as we're talking, we play the song.
Look, we could do a block of these weekly. I kid you not. We could do this weekly on the same year and focus on different stuff.
Yeah.
Easy part's easy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I can't even listen to those shows because it's like, have you heard a record in your life? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, come on. Like, I have heard worse pitches lately. You know what I mean? Like, we should be. It is travesty. Sirius XM, where you at?
Right. Just look. We don't need that much.
Come find
money.
us.
We just need enough. We can still do it remotely. We just need enough. You guys need to give us the ability to play these songs, because in my
put your commercials for boner pills or whatever in there. Whatever.
Oh, I would totally pitch boner pills and like over expensive cereal. What's that cereal thing that people do?
Oh,
Magic Spoon.
Magic
for only
Spoon.
$80 a month, you can get fucking cereal in your house.
Yeah, damn.
It's organic.
These people must love cereal.
My favorite flavor is fuck you money.
Exactly. My favorite flavor is I'm just gonna leave these amps here. I don't feel like taking them back. Because that's how I ride.
Flavor is I charge groceries because I can't afford to pay for my $80 cereal.
Oh shit. Anyway, Joe Jackson rocks. That's a great song. And by the way, people think we can't do this without cursing. I assure you we can. I assure you.
Totally like this without cursing.
We can like
Valley Girl by Frank and Moon Zappa.
Oh. Is that on the movie?
Ship arriving too late to save I can't see the whole title.
Well, because it's that's on.
It's on the Valley Girls soundtrack, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, with Angst in My Pants. I think, isn't it? Nah, I'm fucking up.
You know, talking about it, Valley Girls 82, isn't it?
Yes.
Again, I think we did this show in 84, and I think what was funny about 84 is a lot of the songs people thought were 84 were 79, and 82 is kind of one of those years where there's things that I think people happened later in the 80s that actually happened earlier.
Yeah.
Like
I'm usually pretty good about it within about a 6 month on either side radius.
Mhm.
Like, it's a pretty useless skill, frankly, except for this show. But like, I mean, like, I'm usually like surprisingly, it's like Price is Right rules, right? Closest without going over.
But yeah, Supertramp. You want to talk about Supertramp? You want to say why Supertramp is the 21st best record on this list? Famous last words, and this is the remastered. Don't forget, it's remastered.
So yeah.
Why is
let the record show?
Put On Your Old Brown Shoes make the top 25?
Well, what's it? So is Breakfast in America is like 79, right? So this is a follow up for because Breakfast in America is the one with so logical, the logical song, and Goodbye Stranger and all that. So this is the follow up to that one. Wait, no. I guess there's one in between. God, I guess I just don't know my Supertramp that well. My bad. I don't know. You have strong thoughts about Supertramp? I don't.
None at all.
I mean, like it's when I hear it, it's fine. I don't ever think
sometimes
it out,
I have more thoughts on One on One by Hall & Oates. H2O, not a great record, but One on One is a great song. Hall & Oates is one of those bands that everyone knows them from their greatest hits,
right?
And
well, so like the Who.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that people remember like, oh man, so many great songs. Yes, but they almost didn't make a go-to record. Like it's like their records are kind of inconsistent, and I say that as a Who fan. Yeah, same thing with Hall & Oates. Yeah, where it's like people just they're like, oh, that record's great. I'm like, is it though?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great record because I tried to find another song on it because everybody wants to hear the Blue Eyed Soul from Hall & Oates. It's like, dude, it's the 80s.
No,
no one knew what it was going to really be. There's still guitar oriented music, and then Private Eyes is a record you guys want.
Private Eyes, watching you. Yeah,
that's where they get that mix down, and it makes sense. You are a Beefheart fan. I don't hate Beefheart. I just don't know the catalog.
Yeah, I do love that is Ice Cream for Crow. I was actually closing in on having Drumbo on the show. I don't know what happened. I gotta follow up on that. He's pretty shocking. No one, kind of an old school, non-technological fella. But
how did you like this record, Ice Cream for Crow?
It's good. It's Captain Beefheart. It's very strange, but like it's strange in a way that's like more accepted now. You know, it's like, with the exception of some stuff off Safe as Milk, you're not going to hear it in a grocery store or like a salon when you get your hair cut or something along those lines. But deeply weird experimental music that is very true to itself. And is it odd? Yes. Is it great? Also, yes. I mean, depending if you have the appetite for that, great. It's like there's 12 records of this crap. You know, it's fucking awesome.
There's two people that say that's a great record. I will take your guys' word for it.
In the comments, ask him. Yeah,
in the comments. Like, yeah.
Third favorite, maybe.
So can I tell you something ridiculous, Conan? So it took 4 hours to put this together, right? And in that time,
how many Beefheart songs did you listen to put that on? Or were you just
put
like
that on
one randomly?
By this time, I'm listening to the first song and the fourth song. If the first song is the fourth is probably your single. That was my math.
It's like non-Euclidean geometry Delta blues. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of like everything about Beefheart is like deeply jacked up from a pop music perspective. But
yes,
there's something that'll that you can latch onto pretty easily if you're into that kind of thing.
The thing I like about these playlists is it does make me go, when I'm done, I'll go back and listen to the record. And there's a record on here that I didn't think I was going to go back and peep. because this is a very down time for this band as far as like their success is waning. They're playing in half full theaters at this point.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
the main players have left the band. Aerosmith does Jailbait from the Rock and a Hard
Dude.
Place record.
Yeah, no Joe Perry on this record.
Joe Perry's gone.
And it's not what's the one
Rocks.
Like Rocks, Toys in the Attic. I mean, that
Draw the Line, I think is a
Draw
record
the Line is
yeah.
Those records people don't even know that, like, because people when they think of Aerosmith, they're thinking of that Desmond Child stuff from the 90s, right?
No.
And like, no, they were a hell ass rock band, and this is. They were they were like on life support.
They were going at this point. So look, dude, they didn't want to do a record. It was like the label kid. Joe Perry left in the middle. It was all this fighting because of coke, and I guess Steven Tyler wouldn't even show up, or if he did, he was effed up. The riffage on this record with I can't remember the guy's name.
Rock and Hard Place. Oh,
yeah.
Well, because Brad Redford even left.
Yes.
Too, right? So it wasn't as Joe Perry.
What's the guy's name? I was looking it up the other day.
Well, because Jack Douglas produced it, and by the way, this record I'm looking right now cost $1.5 million to record this record. God damn.
Cocaine budget.
Jimmy Crespo.
Beast. Listen to the riffage.
He played with Rod Stewart, Billy Squier, Meatloaf, Stevie Nicks, Robert Fleischman, Rough Cut.
It's way better than I thought. And I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. Because Night in the Ruts, I think we did on 79. It's like, yeah, this is not a good record.
No, Night in the Ruts is not good at all, in my opinion. Not for me,
dude.
I don't know this dude at all. Like, but I can't remember the last time. I definitely did I undersell this era of Aerosmith? No, I did not undersell it. It's not that great. Yeah. Not much to say there.
Fear.
We talked about Big Black. That's fine.
Yeah. Fear.
Fear the Wreck.
I had to do this.
Why beef? Why was it Beef Piloto? Why was that the one?
Beef.
I thought it would be. Well, by the way, they were on the what was the television show that they were on? Christ, what am
Saturday Night
Live.
Well,
they were, but they were on. No. I'm talking about the it's the show where, God damn it, it was like a very special episode of like, God damn it, come on, chat. Come up, Fear. What was the TV show they were on? It was like a detective show or something along those lines. I can't. What was it? Quincy? Quincy? Was it Quincy? Quincy Emmy episode? Was it? Yeah.
Was like, you think this music can kill people? Yes, it can kill hope.
Yeah. I mean, it was like I can't believe that was I really did a fail on that one. Sorry. But I mean, well, but talk about SNL. That's like one of the most infamous musical guests that they ever had, right?
Loved it.
And what did they do? Let's have a war. What did they do on there?
Beef Bologna.
They did Beef Bologna on there. Okay, well, which is funny because like they could have done New York song, right? I feel like saxophones, which would have been amazing because it's in New York. Or I think.
But they usually play twice, right?
And then
right. Mark Owen says chips. He says,
was it chips? Okay, yeah. Wild episode. I don't even know if that's streaming anywhere, but the Fear episode, where they are there as like the punk rock band for whatever the motif is of that episode, that and like it's deeply weird and strange, and that kind of way that cross culturally pollinates. But that record's great. I love living in the city. Like, I mean,
you know who did a record with Lee Ving, Conan?
Huh?
Dave Mustaine.
Really? Wow. Okay, that could be good.
It's called MD45.
Right.
And Dave Mustaine and Lee Ving did a punk record.
That is something I would potentially check out. By the way, Spit Sticks of the drummer for Fear not only plays in a cool band called Nasal Rod from Portland now.
Oh, really? I know who Nasal Rod is.
It's the drummer for Fear. He's in there. One of the more interesting kind of punk rock drummers, like real kind of unique style, like that led to whatever your thoughts are on leaving. undeniably like something that people should listen to, and honestly, like the musicianship, very high in Fear, and that's cool. Also, one of the weirdest sort of like cross pollinations for music that I can think of is that for a while, uh, the Breeders,
Mhm.
Kim Deal had the guys from Fear, Jose and Mando, playing in the Breeders. So
Oh,
they did
yeah.
a tour where Fear opened for the Breeders, and like those guys just played both sets, and I was like, I'm probably the only person that likes both of these bands in the audience.
Oh, was it a split audience kind of show?
I mean, yeah, and it was mostly the Breeders, who I love. I love the Breeders, but yeah, I don't know what happened with those. With those. Well, I know what happened is that Jim McPherson and Josephine Wiggs kind of came back to the band, and but yeah, they're interesting. Kind of like sidebar to Fear is that, like, you know, the rhythm section, one of the longer rhythm sections for Fear was also in the Breeders.
Yeah, I had no idea.
You would not expect that, right? It's like, oh, I did not expect that.
Another song that is just so quintessentially 80s, Eye of the Tiger.
Oh,
That record comes out in 1982.
Survivor.
Yeah.
Is that is that Rocky 4?
3.
3.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the all-time great meldings of a song with like the activities that are happening on screen, right? I mean,
The training scene montage.
yeah. How many times have we seen that homaged or parodied? And it's and like it's just you hear that rising up. How many times have I played that at soundcheck?
Wait, actually, is it Rocky 4? I thought it was Rocky 3, but you might be right. It might be Rocky 4. I swear it was Rocky 3.
No, you're right. It was written as a theme song for the 1982 film Rocky 3 and released
Okay,
as a
so
single.
because I remember him
Survivor.
driving in his car.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
That's
right?
the one. Is that the one, Mr. T? That's one, Mr. T.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, woman. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's
easy to forget about that because it's like everyone remembers Rocky 4, but it's easy to forget about
It's Cold War Rocky. Dude.
I mean, yeah, it's
Cold War Rocky rocks.
This is in there pulling tree trunks in the snow and shit.
The training scene. I just want you to know, Conan, every time I go for a run at 46 years old and I'm trying to get back up the massive hill I live up.
Yeah.
Training scene Rocky's always Rocky can climb up that snow shit without snowshoes.
In your head, you got
Apollo and Rocky on the beach wearing half shirts, little ass shorts.
So homoerotic.
There's no easy way out. Thank you, Stevie. Yeah, I did love that. There's no shortcut home. Yeah. Yes, I totally remember that, dude. That was it. Devo, Time Out for Fun.
Oh man, yeah. So that's a Oh No It's Devo, which is definitely one for the true heads. That record is awesome. I am a big fan. It's deeply so the thing about Oh No It's Devo, and I talked about this with Jerry on one of the many times that he's been a Protonic commercial, but so it's way more heavily reliant on synthesizers and drum machines and whatnot. But so there's minimal use of guitars on it, but it's got a very robotic sort of feel. And somebody, Jerry, I'm trying to get this right, but there's like reviews of Devo that said that they were that mentioned the terms fascists and clowns, which both is like what? So they decided to make a record by they decided to make a record that would sound like what a fascist clowns would sound like. And it was amazing. There's the song I Desire. I remember Hinckley, who tried to assassinate Reagan to impress Jodie Foster.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the lyrics are from like a poem that he wrote. And they set it to music. It's great. It's an awesome record. It's like nobody will mention as their favorite Devo record because they have so many great records, but it's actually wild underrated. And they did this combination of visuals, the videos that they have for all of them that are synced with the music and stuff that like nobody was doing any of that stuff at the time. And like there's it's a really weird dark record. I did a tour with the band Dead from Australia just recently, and we recorded a what I thought was an EP, but like could potentially be a record at this point. We recorded so much stuff, but we did a cover of Big Mess off of that, which may not see the light of day now because I think Jem didn't care for his performance on it. But I forgot how like just really weird and cool that song is. Lots of cool sequencing. By the way, the producer on that, Roy Thomas Baker, who's mostly known for working with Bowie and Zappa. Like I think Queen record. He did like a bunch of like other stuff, but kind of like a bit of an outlier. He did some of the Cars stuff too. He did I think he did the first record, Candio, and Panorama and Shake It Up, I think. Which crazy because like I think this may be like because they had like a Creedence Clearwater Revival style like record every year for a while. And 82 was the first time that doesn't happen. It's like a couple of years until you get to Heartbeat City. So because have we talked about the Cars on this show? I think we talked about it in 79, right? Yeah, Candio, that's right. That Devo record's great, but it's like when people think of Devo, they're probably thinking of either Are We Not Men, We Are Devo, or they're thinking of New Traditionalists. They're probably not thinking of this, but it's practically it's huge compared to the Duty Now for the Future. So
did they write the Revenge of the Nerds song at the first movie? Because they're just biting Devo so hard at the talent show.
I'm trying to even remember.
With the rap by Little Old Me Lamar.
Oh yeah. Who the talent show? I'm trying to remember. I have not seen.
Revenge of the Nerds is 84, so they would have filmed it in 83.
I have that. By the way, that has not aged well. Just FYI, that Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, you mean the scene where they put the cameras in the women's bathroom and look at the
vaginas? Not great. Yeah.
Or the scene where he pretends to be her boyfriend, goes down on her, and she realizes it's not her boyfriend. She goes, "Oh, that's cool."
Yep.
Don't try any of those things at home, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, not great.
Don't do them. Do not. It's not haha funny like you think.
Time Out for Fun rocks. That's a great Devo song. I can go on about Devo for forever. They're like one of my favorite bands.
Atomic Dog by George Clinton comes out.
Atomic Dog.
He says he was so coked out. They were running the tape back when he came in the studio, and that's them running the tape back. And he was like, "All right, I like that. Do it again."
I'm surprised we haven't talked that much about the whole P-Funk Parliament Funkadelic world on the show before, because I feel like it's just...
we've talked about it on the main show because I think it's an important thing to talk about when you talk about disco. Disco is a very class-based response to funk. And funk is definitely on its way out. Even Rick James, to a certain degree, is a bit of a more upscale than just the all and out hood shit that is Parliament Funkadelic. Parliament Funkadelic is awesome. Right? Yeah, you can't deny a lot of those groups. You can't deny the musicianship. You can't deny the imagery. But George Clinton was known for paying his members in drugs.
Oh yes.
And he had it's pretty much George Clinton as the what would you call him? The CEO of a production team called Funk. And he's just like, okay, you guys, band, all right, band, we're gonna release this record, Brides of Funkenstein, this Bootsy's Rubber Band, and he just crapped out so much music in a relatively short time that by the time the 80s are rolling around, everybody's got pretty bad addictions.
Yeah.
He's able to eke this out. Clinton was one of those guys that loved rappers and sampling
Yeah.
because he would give up music for nothing.
Look at what's the
Beastie Boys.
yeah. I was thinking of Ice Cube. Yeah. What fucking
Bop,
anyway.
I think is the song.
Yeah. That's right. And by the way, shout out to Eddie Hazel too, who's like just a beast of a guitar player. Like, really like people that the last thing they think of as George Clinton is a guitar work, but like you listen like Maggot Brain or something. Good.
But that's so funny. It's like, why? Guitar is such an important part of funk music.
People don't.
Those two things, the bass and the guitar, it's not like you think of the Isley Brothers and don't think of the guitar.
Yeah.
They're massively important, and it's distorted.
Oh, absolutely.
This isn't clean. That's why disco, again, think about the class response to this disco. We're going to strip down the outfits. We don't need all these caricatures on stage. Disco is the pull your pants up of funk.
Pull your pants. God damn.
Yeah. I said it.
So Atomic Dog is nominated for 2 Billboard Awards for special effects and art direction for the video, and it lost to Billy Joel, Pressure, and Rocket by Herbie Hancock.
Great song.
Yeah, Rocket's great. Arguably, there's no better distillation of what Herbie Hancock does than Rocket, frankly, I think. I mean, like as far as from like a pop audience perspective, it's like, yeah, do you like that? Cool. There's a lot of other stuff that's like that too.
He's not afraid of music.
No, he's a musician, right?
You know, the host is not afraid of music, Patrice Rushen. And she starts her career, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, as a very accomplished jazz musician, like a child prodigy jazz musician.
Sure.
And I think she's even on Blue Note. Like, she is quintessential. I'm going to do the thing where I play the piano really well and blah, blah, blah. And she wanted to get into other kinds of music. And it was like, no, don't. It was almost like, for her, she is the equivalent of Miles Davis using non-acoustic instruments. Bob Dylan using she really got that shit from the world she comes from. That being said, this record, you can put it on today and still jam out. Still jam out. Forget Me Nots. What else is on Straight from the Heart? Let's just see. Forget Me Nots. I could Remind Me.
Yeah.
How many times has that been sampled?
Right.
Right. Like just the fact that so much of this music was sampled so many times, and it's so different from what she had done previously. And she doesn't really go back to that world. And I think she's a not program director. She was a music director for quite a few shows for a while. Just brilliant bass player, brilliant pianist. I'm a huge Patrice Rushen fan. She's just one of the most amazing musicians, period, of all time.
Right.
Alice Coltrane also has a song. Has an album this year. John's wife, correct?
Is she really? That would actually make sense. I didn't. Hold on. Let's.
I believe this is the last record she makes.
Yeah, I mean, Alice Coltrane is cool as hell. You know, it's hard to fuck with it. Yeah. Okay, so 65 to 67. Okay. Yeah. That. How did I not realize that they were married? They were married at the same time. I guess I was like, Coltrane isn't that uncommon of a name. I don't know.
Yeah, all the Coltranes you hung out with back in the day, right? Oh, Timmy Coltrane, no relation.
Hey, we got Jimmy over here. Jimmy Coltrane. Bring him in.
What do you mean? What do you mean a black guy? Never hang out with a Moulignan. Grace Jones is the most
Nipple to the bottle. What the fucking record is this? Nipple to the bottle. Somebody was like, "Yep, that's it. That's the title." All right.
Because Grace Jones is fucking insane.
Yeah, who's gonna tell her no? Yeah.
And gives
not me. You tell her.
One. Grace Jones, for all the talk about what's punk rock, if you don't mention Grace Jones.
Oh, she's a badass. Don't get me wrong, but like,
doesn't give a fuck.
There's a. Is this the one that has like a
Something about
cover,
the
Johnny
bumper?
Cash cover on it, or there's like an outtake or something that like I heard once. I was like, what? I did not expect to hear this. Hold on, I gotta look that up now.
I got the record on the screen right now.
But I'm thinking, like it's like Ring of Fire or something.
Oh,
I
it's
can't
not on
remember.
this record, no.
Yeah, it may not be that one. It may be another one. But I remember it's like, who? What? What?
Grace Jones is fucking insane.
Oh, she's
love
badass.
Grace
I
Jones.
mean, yeah, like endless respect. Nipple to the bottle. What fucking song is this?
It's actually kind of funky. I'm not gonna lie. The song is
Okay.
kind of funky. Again, when we hit these points of the show, I
Yeah.
just want to just killing me. It's like, Conan, here's a little taste.
Yeah, I know living my life. I know that one. I know my Jamaican guy. Yeah, I know that one. That's I don't know. Deeply weird record. I mean, but weird in a very like pop funk kind of
Yes.
way, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. Just a very odd, cool person. Iggy Pop does Zombie Birdhouse.
look,
Tell me about Zombie Birdhouse.
I love Iggy Pop. You know this. I got a lot of time for anything Iggy's up to. He had a pretty rough series of records.
Mhm.
Soldier, Party is the one before this. Zombie Birdhouse, not great. Not great. There's a lot of droning synthesizers and like Afrobeat kind of free association lyrics. He was trying to do like a Talking Heads sort of Suicide Throbbing Gristle thing on that one. Easily very forgettable. A lot of people. The next one he does is like Blah Blah Blah, which is also not great, but has like a pretty decent Johnny O'Keefe cover. This is not a great era for Iggy. Like it's just not. I respect to him for trying to do some stuff. He did not get it on Zombie Birdhouse.
Well, we talked about this with 67, right? Everybody talks about how great drugs were for your creativity. It's like, come with me to the land of the 80s.
yeah. It's like, oh man,
I need more of that go powder, man. It just make me. No, it's not working anymore. I think you need to find something new called sobriety.
Well, yeah. So Zombie Birdhouse is unabashedly his quote unquote new wave era record. But it's, you know what else is? Not good.
You know what, Matt John? You're being that guy right now, Matt John. Matt John is being that guy.
All right.
I hope when Conan and I show up at your house, if you're not playing Iggy Pop from his totally aged out fucking dope sick era, if we don't walk in the door, you're not cleaning your dishes to that shit, then we're going to be very upset with you, Matt John. You're going to get a finger wagging.
Look, man, it's unique. I just don't think it worked. I mean, I like opinions differ on world shape. Fine. It's chill. Like if you're telling me you're gonna go to Zombie Birdhouse before you go to like the Idiot, I got a fucking bridge to sell you.
I told you, if we don't walk in his house, if we don't walk in the house, and he's not sitting there with his shirt off.
Oh yeah, let's listen to Lust for Life. Let's listen to Zombie Birdhouse. Come on, what kind of party is this? What are you trying to do?
I need to see the video of topless. What's his name again? Matt John with doing your Iggy impersonation. Era of Iggy. The Zombie Birdhouse. If I don't see that, I'm gonna be pissed the fuck off.
Which is funny is that like the record before being called Party, this is like the opposite of a party, frankly. Or it's not.
It's Iggy's drug party.
Yeah, I guess he was trying stuff and it wasn't working. In my opinion, a lot of people like Zombie Birdhouse. I don't, obviously. But
what's also funny too about this era, Conan? Yeah. This is also when people get money. They get advances.
Yeah.
The label's paying for their house.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just don't like. Look, I don't like free verse poetry too. Like I don't like poetry slams. Peace and love. Run Like a Villain, Eater, Be Eaten, Platonic Angry Hills. I put it equal with the Idiot. Really? Okay. All right. Well.
Hey, Matt John, just when you get a knock on your door today, And
Yeah,
you see the Ebony and Ivory of album reviews. Fucking know what's going on. We're like, hey, make with the dance in there, Iggy fan.
I'm just saying, like, put it up against like a Lust for Life, right? Like, and then or even like post pop depression. Like, it sounds 80s as hell, and I don't mean there's a compliment. Moving on.
It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls.
Hallelujah.
Yes, I put this single on here not because Martha Wash is one of the more important characters in music because of those lawsuits literally changes the way you have to put credits in records. It becomes a congressional law.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot that was the one.
I definitely Martha Wash, extremely talented singer, one of the best voices in soul, gospel music, in dance music. We can't deny that, but those lawsuits against all that Cole and Clavilla stuff they produced in the early 90s around the time of Milli Vanilli changes the way you have to list contributors on your
That's right. Yeah, very important, historically important.
So we have to, and also It's Raining Men is a great song. If I didn't put a country song
Sounds
on
messy. The carnage. God is my witness. I thought men could fly. Thank you.
His little ditty about Jack and Diane. John Cougar Mellencamp.
Oh, yeah, life goes on. Yeah.
I told Tucson, I was like, Tucson, do you want to suck on a chili dog or life and death? Tucson, she couldn't even talk. She was cracking the fuck up. I was like, he says, suck it on a chili dog.
Suck it on a chili dog. There's a sign you can get that says suck on a chili dog, and then it's just like a no sign. Like, do not do that. Mellencamp. Do I like John Mellencamp? No,
him and Bruce
really.
Springsteen were the same white man for me, and I would always get confused.
Oh, that's an immense disservice to Springsteen, but I get it. Wow. I mean,
what's wrong with John Mellencamp?
Other than the fact that he sucks, nothing. I mean,
you don't like a little ditty about
yeah, come on,
hating on my music. God damn that white man.
The song's fine. I don't. Why would I think about it? I mean, like, you know, like it's hard to argue with Life Goes On Long After the Thrill of Living's Gone. That's a great chorus. That's fantastic. I mean, I think he's just trying real hard to be like the Midwest Springsteen with a lot of these lyrics, you know, and that's like, I don't know, man. Like, what the fuck? Hey, he's like universally known songs, and you know, he's got that big career, and I'm Conan Neutron, so whatever, you know. Pink Houses is good. I actually like ROCK in the USA, you know.
I forgot he did ROCK in the USA.
He did that Wild Nights cover with Michelle Ndegeocello. That was pretty good. Hurts So Good is good. I mean, he's got hits.
He's got hits.
He's got less good songs than Kiss. But he's got some good tunes, you know.
Modern English drops I Melt With You, which
now that song fucks.
Can you encapsulate a decade with one song?
Word.
I Melt With You.
Yeah.
An entire decade.
Ooh, yeah, no, it's look. I mean, by the way, friend, actually, ex-bandmate of mine, her band was toured with Modern English, and she's like, they're great. It's like they're like the nicest folks. They have a really solid sense of self and like their place in the world. You know, they still like playing it, and like they're not salty about it or anything along those lines. Like, yeah, that's a good tune. I've listened to other Modern English stuff. It's fine. It's fine. But I think that's the rare case where someone just nails it, gets a timeless tune, and like, yeah, the rest of it's good too. That's fine.
It's really hard to make the song of an era and the rest of your stuff is like, I guess.
Yeah, and then they also did other good stuff. But like, yeah, you defined an epoch of time that for some reason has had like 4 or 5 resurgences.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, look, there's worse things to be known for. I mean, shit.
It's just, how do you top that? You can't.
But by the way, I met with you also on the Valley Girl soundtrack.
Is it?
So,
Oh,
Valley
it
Girl
is.
soundtrack
Yeah.
is
Valley Girl soundtrack is kind of a jam.
it kind of fucks, yeah.
Jesus. Midnight Oil. But this, I was hurt that the Beds Are Burning song wasn't on this record.
Well, because that's the beds are burning.
That's all I wanted to hear was the Beds Are
I want to
Burning.
hear these beds burning, and they ain't.
Hey. Hey, what's going on?
That's like from a record that's like years later. It's like 87 or something.
Yeah, it's. I didn't realize how much later it was.
Midnight Oil has a wild, huge discography too. Like there.
Yes.
Also, that dude got into singer for that, got into politics for a while, and like interesting story. Like it's you know, they're often compared to U2, and you know, Bono just like uses celebrity for advocacy and stuff like that. Like this dude actually like stood for parliament and like, you know, like got, you know, he was a Bernie Sanders style person for a time to a certain degree. It's more complicated than that, but it's Midnight Oil is pretty good. And Midnight Oil is a band that like every time like they come up, I'm like, I need to listen to some more Midnight Oil. Like I just don't ever. I'm like, they have so many songs. Like I feel like I should know more about Midnight Oil. And I know enough, and I know it when I hear it. Like, you know, and that's fine. But like they, you know, they're on all these like lists as like, oh, it's, you know, one of the best Australian records of all time, and you know, like. I don't know. I don't listen to that much. Sorry, everybody. I don't know if you've been mad about that or what.
Bad Lefty says fuck Bono. It's like, okay.
Fuck Bono. Damn. All right.
I'm with you.
I mean, like, it's a pretty hard dude to freaking. Oh yeah, Johnny, Are You Queer is on that Valley Girl soundtrack too. That's did not age well. I love a man in a uniform. Gang of Four, baby. Songs of the Free blows, by the way, as a record, but there's 2 great songs. There's that song, and there's We Live as We Dream. The production on that is trash from the trash can.
Why do you think that is?
It's just incredibly dated. They got gated snares. It's ill-suiting to
the gated snare, which becomes the sound of the 80s,
horrific.
Can make certain records just sound horrible. And there's this moment where in 82 you're getting a lot more gated snare, and you're seeing the end of like really deep bass sounds and records mastered for vinyl. Oof.
So Songs of the Free. Dave Allen's out at this point, the bassist, and Sarah Lee comes in, who's a badass. She's awesome. And actually in the current version of Gang of Four, Sarah Lee is back. Dave Allen more or less is retired from touring. He also has a very demanding day job that he has to like stick with, but he's still very involved with the band, like when they did the box set and things along those lines. But I'll say you got that song that's on there, Love a Man in Uniform, great. We Live as We Dream Alone. This era of them as a live band kills. This record sounds like garbage. I'm sorry. Like it's not great. It's not only is it not to my sensibilities, if you can play this along with Solid Gold and Entertainment, one of the weirdest sounding records of all time, and be like, this is good for these reasons, great. But nobody can do that because it's not true. It just isn't true. But that said, it's practically like Funhouse by the Stooges compared to Hard, which is the record after that, which is like an antonym. It's the softest record I ever goddamn heard. Which like Hugo's even out at this point. It's just Andy and John, and it's with Sarah, and it's not great. They should have just stopped being a band at this point. But there is a couple. There are 2. So they re-recorded in the 2000s when everybody was ripping them off and like making a mint doing it. They re-recorded some of the older songs, kind of for rights issues, but also just like, oh, let's give this a try here. And they did a re-recorded version of I Love Man in Uniform and We Live as We Dream Alone. That sounds like a band, and they're great. And like that's one of the things I was like, oh yeah, these songs are actually awesome. So I love that in the current version, Gang of Four with my buddy Dave Pajo. in playing guitar in the Andy Gill role, they actually do play those songs, and it's great. It's really good. In my opinion, the Gang Forward has done a great job of representing their catalog. I'm like, you don't need anything other than those 2 songs after Solid Gold. Just those 2 records and those 2 songs is good. And they busted those a couple ones. I'm like, I don't think anyone's looking for that personally, but whatever.
No,
What do I know?
Right.
But Solid Gold, Solid Gold's amazing. Entertainment's amazing. Songs of the Free, 2 great songs, but not a great record. And like the band as a viable creative entity is on life support, and about a year later kind of runs out of gas as a live band when Hugo bails. So,
well, moving on. Blondie has The Hunter.
Which one is that? Hold on, I gotta.
I want to dude.
Gotta look at the track list.
I want to like play 2 seconds of it.
That's like the 6. Yeah, that's like Chris Stein's really getting into production at this point. That one's War Child, Out in Lost Souls. It's fine. For Your Eyes Only is pretty good. They wrote that for the James Bond film. Yep. But they put on that. But they put that Bill Conti. It was on one around there. He did Rocky. He did Rocky 2. Was Karate Kid yet? No, Karate Kid's a couple years later. But he I mean, look, you're up against the guy who did Gonna Fly Now. Pretty hard to mess with. It's fine. I love Blondie. It's okay. That record's fine.
Fast as a Shark is a pretty good Accept song. Restless and Wild. Accept record. I'll Tumble For You is one of my favorite Culture Club songs.
This is the self-titled Madness record. Madness is a band that have a lot of records.
Yes.
Most of them are not fantastic, but
I'm not the biggest. Don't say that to Dizzle. Dizzle actually is a ska musician.
Oh, that's right. Now we're gonna get some calls on here.
Yeah. Well, the phone lines are closed, dude. Those people were being silly. They were scared at 82. They were scared.
Oh, Rise and Fall's good. Tomorrow's just another Days on there. Oh yeah, Our House. Duh. Like their huge hit.
Yeah, I couldn't. You Are by Lionel Richie.
Father, where's his Sunday best?
We talk about Michael
Mother's
Jackson.
got a date to keep. Kids are singing up downstairs. Sister's singing in her sleep. Oh. They have harder songs than that, by the way. That's not all. I mean, I like Our House, but it's.
I mean, when a song hits, you don't know what's going to hit. You just don't know what's going to hit.
I mean, I think about that every time I ride an Outlier, my friend. Like, what if this is the thing that you're known for forever?
You have no idea what's going to hit.
Which, by the way, I'd be fine with that, and just rather than like not known for anything.
Right.
Which, whatever. I got my own niche. I don't think about that often. Don't get me wrong, but like I do think about that. Like, let me tell you, I purposely wrote a novelty song that we're gonna record. We're gonna record this later this year. I'm gonna give you guys an exclusive here right now. It's gonna be probably a split 7-inch. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you the conceit first. There's a rare echelon of songs that is songs about people playing an unorthodox instrument, and everyone is amazed by how good it sounds. So you got your Hurdy-Gurdy Man, you got Rubber Band Man, you got Spoon Man, right? But the song is about like, man, I saw this. It was crazy. You think it would suck, but it was actually really good. Everyone loved it. So I got a song called Vibro Slap Man that I wrote because that you did the thing because all these things are like these are not musical instruments. Like, how would people be this excited about a rubber band? Are you kidding me? Like, come on, spinners. But like, I love the idea so much. I'm so obsessed with it. I wrote a song called Vibro Slap Man, and would be astounding and the perfect capstone to my entire like musical careers if it became huge somehow.
And that's
right?
The one that everybody.
That's the one. Oh yeah, Vibro Slap Man, Neutron. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
makes these kinds of lists. It was all about Vibro Slap Man that summer though.
Yeah. Man, 2025, just
hot Vibro Slap summer.
You young kids in 2060 don't know what it was like until Vibro Slam hit.
And then so it's going to be backed with and I think Stevie and a few other people appreciate this, how I wrote Vibro Slap Man, which of course is a fall homage because that's deeply funny to me. But songs about people playing unorthodox instruments are there's such a specific thing with with that in rock and roll and whatever. That I love it. I love it. It's weird. It's cool. But I always think about that whenever someone has like an outlier hit that's like The Flame by Cheap Trick, right? Where it's like, man, I don't think of The Flame when I think of Cheap Trick, but like plenty of Midwest moms do. You know, they love that shit. It's like catnip.
I felt like
love it.
Cheap Trick was on this list, but I could be wrong.
They put out a record in '82. It's not my favorite. I think it's One by One. If I read, yeah.
My favorite song on this whole list is right here.
Money will roll right in.
Talk about a song I wish I wrote.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
And I'll just sit and grin. The money will roll right in. Fang, I know Tom Flynn. Tom Flynn, who also did Boner Records, home of Steel Pole Bathtub, Melvins, et cetera, et cetera. I think he wrote that because I think and I think he and that's been covered by like Metallica, Nirvana, like Money.
I didn't know Metallica used to cover that song.
It's been covered by everyone's like, who's this song from? It's like, oh, this like obscure like San Francisco like punk band, basically.
I'm gonna skip down to this right here, Conan.
Oh, because I was gonna say real quick with Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
One by One, actually pretty good. It's got She's Tight and If You Want My Love, You Got It. It's got a couple good tunes on. One by One's actually not bad. It's not bad. It's my favorite Cheap Trick record?
It's rocking.
No, but it's respectable. Yeah. It's a respectable.
No, it's rocking.
I was thinking of Next Position, Please, which is the one after it, and that one is I think it's that one. I'm like, miss me with that. But
Tracy Thorn. Do you know who Tracy Thorn is?
I do not know who Tracy Thorn is. Who that?
Tracy Thorn is the singer from Everything But the Girl.
Oh, okay, sure.
I had no idea she was around in '82.
She was around. Wow. For some reason, I thought they were younger. That's kind of wild.
No.
Okay.
They're much.
But they got that look that's like they like could probably look the same the last 40 years. You know, where it's like look exactly the goddamn same. Like
they understand
Amber.
Yeah, they understand what forever looks.
I can't believe you skipped over Metal on Metal Anvil.
Watching the Anvil story, that documentary that came out like 10, 15 years ago, that was a rough watch.
Too real.
That was a rough watch. Watching him go to Michael Schenker, like, you remember us? We played at the US Festival. He's like, man, come on, dude. I'm so high right now. I'm not going to remember
that. 83. What do you think's happening here?
Like, you have no idea. I'm not remembering a lot. You like this string of songs right here, like Cambodia by Kim Wilde. Remember Kim Wilde? Man, that kid's in
America. Oh,
I Like It by DeBarge.
The Muffs covered "Kids in America." By the way, it's on the Clueless soundtrack, and it's like by far their most popular song ever. But like, it's kind of an outlier even for them. They never play it live even. I'm sorry. So DeBarge,
DeBarge, I like it. Always on My Mind, Willie Nelson.
Oh yeah, solid.
Metal on Metal. Like that little string right here. Look, You Are by Lionel Richie. 7/77/93/11. The time. What time is it? Which apparently is just Prince and Morris Day jamming all those songs. It's just those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fang.
Mention that. Is Oingo Boingo on this list? Did you put Oingo? Because Nothing to Fear, their second record came out, and it's on my mind because I just talked to Bartek again. Steve Bartek is coming out. It's actually it'll be up for patrons later today.
You know what is on this list?
DRI.
I know what boys like.
Oh, sure. That's good. Very good.
But Oingo
Boingo, that's got Nothing to Fear has Gray Matter. It's got Insects, Private Life, Wild Sex in the Working Class for Running on a Treadmill. Nothing to Fear but Fear Itself. It's like almost at the Cars level of hits for.
They did not make. I didn't see it on the list of albums that came out in '82.
So Wild Sex is in 16 Candles. And they're like touring with like the Police and like Fear at this time, right? They're kind of like it's cool, like they're in both worlds, right?
Interesting.
but Only a Lad is like what people kind of fixate on. Only a Lad rocks. That's a great record, and of course, there was a couple of hits on there, especially Little Girls. But the Nothing to Fear is that's a great record.
We have Gloria by Laura Branigan.
Well, the last thing I was gonna say is people fixate on Danny Elfman's composing work that Steve Bartek did as well, because he was doing stuff like Beetlejuice and Midnight Run and things along those lines, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, all that kind of stuff. So people kind of fixate on that. But shout out to Oingo Boingo. Nothing Fears, like really, really solid.
For whatever reason, it didn't show up on my list of albums.
I thought I mentioned it, but I might not have. I think I just mentioned I was talking to him again.
But yeah, it didn't show up because I'm going back through the list. Is there a way to search on just the playlist?
I don't.
Maybe if I'm in the actual app, I'm on the.
Yeah, probably that's usually.
Anyway,
Nothing to Fear. It rocks. Oingo Boingo rocks as well, and sign up for the Protonk Versal Patreon to hear the second part of that conversation with Steve Bartek, and that's out for all the cheapskates and lazy people on Monday.
Dr. Claw Vanity 6 did come out this year, but I don't know who owns the rights. Not on Spotify.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Couldn't
Seems
find
like
it.
that'd be contentious somehow.
Couldn't find it. I don't know if she pulled it. I was shocked. I couldn't find it. I was like, one of the biggest songs of that era, of that year, and I can't put it on here, so that hurt.
That's real.
But I swear
What?
Oingo was on one of our playlists. Were they on 84?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they had a run. Well, there was
Yeah.
I mean, that was it's like 84 or 85. I can't remember, but yes, Nurse with Wound. Wow, I forgot Nurse with Wound existed. Frankly.
Missing Persons, Walking in LA.
Oh yeah.
That's a hell of a song. Walking in LA. Nobody walks in LA.
Yeah. It's still true, by the way.
Walks in LA. I love that song. Do Wah Diddy by the Zap.
Oh yeah. Zap. Oh,
yeah. Robert Plant has a very forgettable song from a solo album.
Pictures at 11. What even is that? I don't even.
Yeah, dude. It's not the jam.
Is that the one? I'm in a mood for a melody. I'm in a mood.
I don't remember any moods he was in. Like two songs. Where's the single on this? And I'll just put it on.
What's the there's a
Pictures at 11. Burning Down One Side, Moonlight and Samosa, Pledge Pen, Slow Dancer, Worst in Detroit. That sounds like a mean. What a mean guy.
Yeah. So first of all, In the Mood, which is I'm in the mood for a melody. I'm in the mood. That's the next one. That's 83. Oh my god, the artwork on these are horrendous. Oh my god, this is garbage, trash from the trash can.
You know what? I believe in my soul. If an art director came up to you and he was like, "I got an idea. I'm gonna put you in a room with a picture next to you."
It's a fucking far cry from those Hypnosis records that Zeppelin did. Even those like later Zeppelin records are not my favorite. Like the artwork is like cool as hell.
This was the 80s when it was like, I want to see the artist on the cover.
Yeah. Like here he is. He's in a room. There's like a fire hose nearby. Okay.
I want to see the artist on the cover with a picture of the artist staring at him.
Fuck.
Because that's how fucking great he is. Some of these covers in this era is not the greatest. Yeah, Front 242.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's good industrials kind of kicking.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab you. What a great line! Wow. Hold on, you blasted past Michael McDonald, dude. How dare you?
Michael McDonald is one of my favorite artists.
We're
not in love anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. How? Also, Huey Lewis in the News. Do you believe in love?
Yeah.
Right before Sports. This is the record right before Sports, and he just takes off into the nether reason.
What was the was it? I keep forgetting the sampled for that one. Warren G. I was gonna say we talked about last show, I think, right? Yeah.
94. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. 94. The 94 show. There's some again, this is a fun year to go down because as
Yeah.
Dr. Claus said, I don't know if you saw that comment. Dr. Claus said if I would have called in, we would have been talking for like 6 hours because he goes, 82 is my favorite year of music. There's so much music that comes out in 82. We could
Yeah.
spend, like you said, a whole 3 hours talking about the new wave of British heavy metal and another 3 hours talking about all the great punk songs. And
Yeah.
hardcore
Oh,
songs that came out.
100%.
There's actually the
Absolutely.
rise of country as pop music comes out this year. So like all these kind of what would you call them? Standard bearer country artists.
Could
that
do
might have
2
been like-
hours just sucking on a chili dog.
So
No
that's the
chili
coked out
dog.
Michael Caine with John Cougar Mellencamp's coked out flaccid hog.
By the way, George Thorogood and the Destroyers released Bad to the Bone, delighting suburban dads everywhere for decades to come.
Bad to the bone.
Yeah.
I ended with Bad to the Bone, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
I ended with Bad to the Bone.
Yeah. Do I like George Thorogood?
I don't hate him.
I don't hate it. Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
There is an album that comes out.
Oh, there was born. It's just blues. It's just like electric blues. It's like there's nothing fantastic
you
about
don't
it.
love him, but also don't hate him. Diamond Head releases Borrowed Time, and they release my favorite Diamond Head song that Metallica covers so well that people think it's Metallica's song, Am I Evil?
All right.
So if you want to hear the original version of Am I Evil, here it is.
Nice.
Cheap Trick, yeah, 101.
Oh yeah, it is on here. Okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a better record than I remembered. Which yeah, Cheap Trick. I should never doubt. Even like the not. That's not what I would put on. I Want You Not what I would put on there. I would put on She's Tight, which actually is low key, like probably top 10 Cheap Trick favorite songs. But If You Want My Love is the other one that's on there.
I just love that song.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Is it on? Is this song on Valley Girl?
I feel like every other goddamn thing is.
Because remember, he's is Dream Police on this record?
Joe,
No.
Dream Police that's its own record. That's there's one after this that's for my taste not amazing, and then I think Dream Police is actually, you know what? Maybe I'm thinking it's the other way around. It's like a couple records before this. Yeah, Dream Police is actually 79. My bad. So it's Dream Police, then All Shook Up, and then One on One. And All Shook Up, also not great. Like fine, like just very, very kind of dated production for me. I don't Stop This Game is fine. You know, it's power pop. But his Next Position Please, which is sort of like whatever, and Standing on the Edge, fine. Like there's Tonight It's You is great. They're usually like around this time there's usually at least one great song on every Cheap Trick record. Like in this, but it's like that one song is, oh man, that's awesome. There's a bunch of other songs that are like, that is fine. I am not mad at any of that. So,
and Electric Avenue comes out in 82.
Oh yeah. That was in was it Mrs. David in Electric Avenue? Yeah. That's was it?
That's another one of those songs like I Melt With You that when you think of the 80s,
Down to Electric Avenue. What was it? That was in
Was it a movie recently?
It was in that it was like it came and went so quickly because it's on Peacock. It's called Mrs. Davis. It's got Betty Gilpin in it. Really kind of like cool sci-fi show, but it was on Peacock, so nobody saw it. But it actually features. They close out one of the episodes with it. I was like, oh yeah, Electric Avenue. This song kind of goes right on.
Yeah, I forgot he was a longtime reggae musician and he made that song, blew up.
There's something about that song. What's that dude's name? Eddie Grant. Is that right? Mm-hmm. There's something about what he's done with his music that like means it's not like it was not available for like a long time for people to use and stuff. And then it was in like a like a UK equivalent of like Best Buy or like Circuit City or something for a while. I kid you not. And then like that, be like, oh yeah, this song's great.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like there was some reason why like it was sort of like it was huge when it came out, and then like it just kind of just nothing people didn't even know about it.
Well, there was a
But-
moment where people wanted to pass the Duchy to the left-hand side, Electric Avenue.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
make reggae that doesn't sound like reggae?
right. We like
So-
reggae, but we don't really like the reggae. It's
When I
too
go to
black sounding.
Sandals, I want to be able to like
Sandals.
sing along and be
Fuck.
excited. I don't want to hear your revolution songs.
Can I tell you, when first time I ever saw Sandals reference was in The Office, and I assumed they made it up for that show. I
No.
was like, oh shit, it's a real place.
Real place.
That's a big.
It's a
That's a
real-
big like. I'm gonna go to a far off locale to have vacation that has the place I'm going to has nothing to do with anybody here, and it's just like me sitting around drinking overpriced drinks with a bunch of other white people. Great.
Yep.
That
Please-
sounds like
Please make
actual
sure
hell
you
to me.
hide all the poverty.
Right? I don't want to see any poor people.
don't
I
wanna
don't want to see any
see-
working class people.
Can't digest
Yeah,
it. It's
man.
bad for my acid reflux. Whenever I look at all those pores, fucking just
Well,
hurts me.
I feel like with Eddie Grant though, that's like, remember David Bowie won an MTV for what, and like he like basically took them to task for like not playing black artists,
Mhm.
like, not putting black artists on. And I feel like when like Billie Jean probably hit like
think the
the
next
Thriller
year.
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, that like they were sort of like, oh shit, we gotta find some blacks, get some blacks on. And then this Electric Avenue was like it was they ended up climbing in the Billboard Top 100, I think, if I remember right, just because it was
It's
it's a
massive.
great tune.
I
It's
mean,
an
I
awesome-
think they do a skit on it on Saturday Night Live.
yeah. I mean, and it's a weird song too. Like it's sort of like, oh, this is kind of wild. This
It's
is
like new wave reggae.
yeah, like it kind of it's a good tune. Like I'm not gonna like say that like I celebrate the entire Eddie Grant catalog because I don't. But
Again, it's back to that reggae again. It's like, can you give me reggae that makes me wanna possibly get high, but not overthrow the institutions of power?
you know what? I appreciate reggae. I appreciate, especially when it's very political. I appreciate like dub and like all like the weird offshoots and stuff. I really don't like listening to it. And I know I've tried. Like there's like I'm usually good for about a song, and I realize what it is. I don't smoke the pot, man.
I think that helps. For me, it was learning. like, the
It
history.
fucking must. I mean, people are like, how do you
dude,
listen to this for hours at a time? I can't.
didn't
I'm
dig it.
sorry.
I told you I used to think reggae is what white kids with dreadlocks listen to
Right. Exactly.
because of where I went to school in Albany. But when I got to meet more of the actual artists, because a ton of those people came by the studio. Actually, one of them actually lives down here in those Soundwave. But
My favorite Onion headline, by the way, was Bob Marley rises from grave to free frat boys from bonds of oppression.
that's what it felt like to me, right? Like,
That's absolutely.
if you were white and had dreadlocks and wore Birkenstocks and you loved reggae, and I didn't get it. I didn't think it was for me. And then when I actually met the artists and heard them tell the story of the music, I was like, oh, kind of like you telling the Bruce Springsteen story. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
now I want
okay.
to go back and hear
I
it.
get
And
it,
for them
yeah.
to tell that story, it was like, okay, now it has a different meaning for me. Now I want to go back and hear it.
No, absolutely. And like, again, I would never dismiss a genre out of hand. I would just say that the large, like there's like anything, that there's some stuff I like and some stuff I don't. I find it to be a taxing style of music to listen to for extended lengths of time. I don't know. Again, I don't smoke the ganja.
It's very repetitive.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
repetitive.
and how I can fuck with krautrock. I don't know. Maybe I'm mad racist. Who knows? But it's not. The pop reggae is some of the worst shit, like UB40 and stuff. I was like terrified that record came out this year. I'm like, I don't want to talk about UB40.
No, it didn't come out this year. Red
Okay.
Wine? No.
Oh man, garbage,
No.
trash.
Well, did it come out
from
this
the
year?
trash can.
It wasn't on my list.
Although that was, to be fair, they were a mixed band, but like all I remembers is that dude that looks like somebody's fucking HR representative, like fucking singing in the office. Like it's.
Yeah, dude. It's not. It wasn't my bag, but again, I appreciate it a lot more now than I did as a young person.
Sure, it doesn't.
This music
I'm not
completely-
mad at it. I'm not mad at UB40. Although I did once go on a date with a girl and like I was like, oh yeah, we went back to her place and she put on fucking UB40. I'm like,
Was it
is
like
this
vinyl? Because that would have
is
been
this
funny.
UB40? No, it was a CD. But I was like,
It would've
I was
been
just like,
better if it was vinyl.
it's like, am I gonna have sex to UB40 tonight? I don't know. Like, sure.
I wish it would have been vinyl on a Crosley record player.
Right, exactly. She was hot, but I was like, this is what you throw on UB40? Like, what year is this? Are you kidding me?
The year
dug
of
it.
the
I know.
clam slam, man. You fucking messed up. You lost out.
I was like, this is distracting. This is distracting to me. Like, this is like, I'm sitting there like analyzing, being like, yeah, it is like, I see where they have a love for like this music, but god damn, this is some antiseptic shit.
I'm really glad that you can get that distracted, because for me, that's not going to be the distracting factor.
Fair enough.
The sound of my erection is so much louder than anything they're going to play.
well, that's the fight math, right? Of like, okay, where's the like how cool is she / how beautiful is she versus the wretchedness of the music, or just distracting nature of the music being played.
Yeah, it would have to be really some odd
Wesley Willis or something.
Yeah, just some weird. This is the sound of cats fucking. It turns me on. I'm like, oh, maybe I should go, because I think
Throwing an ice cream for Crow. Let's get down, baby.
I'm like, oh well. Yeah,
right.
that's it's rough. So look, we've been going on this for.
We
over
do have
3
fun
hours.
here, yes.
We're going on this for 3 hours. The playlist is up, but there's a link in the description. Conan, where can people find you?
On the internet, where we all live. I am at Conan Neutron on almost everything except for TikTok. I don't fuck with that. Neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Conan Neutron the Secret Friends. Get records, CDs, digital files. You can buy t-shirts, limited quantities, posters, stuff along those lines. I'm on Protonic Reversal every week. My show of over 10 years of podcasting. Over 10 years. Thank you. Yes. Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Just had Steve Bartek of Oingo Boingo on, as I mentioned earlier. He's great. He's a fascinating character. He's probably played guitar in some movies you love. Really fascinating cat. Great to have him back. And that show is weekly. There's a Patreon for that. $1 a month. Advance access, patreon.com/Protonic Reversal. It's $1 a month, people. It's Bernie Sanders rules. That's the only model I got. I am on a show called Movie Night Extravaganza that does movies. We cover a movie each week. We're going to do Lord of the Rings, all 3 of them. 2 episodes, one with Mike Moraski from Steel Pole Bathtub, who was the head of visual effects for those films. So that should be cool as hell. And then we got our Australian friend, Renee Ruin, coming on, as well as KT Balsaro, to do a larger discussion of the film centered away from the non-technical aspects as well. So 2 episodes.
And you guys just had Alex Cox on too, right?
Alex Cox coming on. That's the next thing. Alex Cox coming in on Tuesday. So,
Okay, Tuesday. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I know you just had him on as well. I'm very excited for that.
Don't ask him about.
Oh, I listened.
I
I listened.
so you know the minefields to avoid.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would never go there in the first place, personally. But
I
it's
think
different
he
kind of
went
show.
there. I think
Yeah.
he went there, and then me and JG were like, "Oh, did we just step in a turd?"
Yeah. What's going on now? What's going on? That should be good though. That should be a good episode. I'm a big fan. Walker, Repo Man, all that. He's an interesting cat. That should be cool. What else? That's nothing to announce. There's a West Coast tour coming up in September. I don't have all the details right now, but I can tell you we're playing SF, we're playing LA, we're playing San Diego, and I'm finishing up a record that we made. Neutronfriends.bandcamp.com for Adult Prom or Split LP with Lung. That's out. We're playing Detroit in October with God Bullies, and there's some other stuff that's going to be set up pretty soon before that. But yeah, that's just mostly doing podcast summer, hot podcast summer for me. That's what's going on. So
well, you're a busy beaver. We'll have some links up in the description. I'll probably leave some links up for Conan stuff in the comments. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And on that
it's always
note,
blessed.
we are out.
Back when Russia was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and they'd say, "Oh, but aren't you so glad that you're in America?" I said, "Well, I know a lot of Russian filmmakers, and they have a lot more freedom than I have. All they have to do is be careful about criticizing the government."